Introduction. All across our ancient world, there are questions that refuse to fade away. Mysteries that stubbornly linger beneath the surface of time. Hidden beneath layers of dust and forgotten centuries lie ruins, artifacts, and faint whispers of civilizations that seem to shatter everything we thought we knew about history, technology, and the limits of human potential. Imagine structures carved with breathtaking mathematical precision, crafted long before humans even invented math. Stones moved across vast mountainsides without the help of wheels or machines. Messages engraved in lost scripts, written by hands whose names have vanished from memory. Who were the builders of these wonders? Why did they create them? And most haunting of all, how? These aren't just missing pieces in our history books. They're deep, gaping wounds in our understanding of the past. Mysteries that don't just puzzle us, they shake us to our core. They make us question if what we call history is just the surface of something far more profound. Could there be a lost chapter in humanity's story, hidden beneath layers of ash, oceans, or even deliberate denial? Tonight, we're going to uncover those secrets. So settle in, breathe deeply, and prepare yourself to journey deep into some of the most baffling ancient mysteries ever discovered. The enigma of the Indus Valley. Beneath the earth, buried beneath centuries of dust, lie the remnants of a world long forgotten. Among the sun-baked bricks of Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, modern-day Pakistan and northwest India, archaeologists have uncovered the bones of a civilization that flourished more than 4,000 years ago, and then simply vanished. This was no ordinary society. It was vast, advanced, and shockingly modern. The cities themselves were marvels of planning, laid out in neat, orderly grids, featuring multi-story buildings, sophisticated public baths, intricate drainage systems, and standardized weights that spoke of precision and control. Evidence reveals thriving trade routes stretching all the way to Mesopotamia. Artifacts showcase exquisite craftsmanship and a rich cultural life, a society built on organization, order, and complexity. But here's the puzzle. What did these people believe? What did they fear, dream, or record? The truth is, we don't know. Their writing, if it can even be called that, remains an unsolved mystery. Etched on soapstone seals, pottery, tablets, and tools are rows of tiny symbols, delicate, deliberate, consistent, but stubbornly unreadable. These symbols show animals, geometric shapes, human-like figures, and markings unlike any alphabet we know. Some seem to be ideograms, others look like pictographs, but no bilingual key has ever surfaced. No Rosetta Stone to crack their code. Scholars have debated for decades. Is this a true writing system? Some think it was a proto-script, symbols used for trade or religious identity, but lacking grammar or sentences. Others argue it was a fully developed language, now lost to time, waiting for the right key to reveal its secrets. Why can't we decipher it? One big challenge is the brevity of the inscriptions. Most are just 4 or 5 symbols long, too short for traditional linguistic analysis. Unlike other writing systems, this script doesn't seem to evolve over time. And with no known descendants to carry the language forward, it sits isolated, cut off from the tree of written history. This silence has invited speculation. Some suggest the symbols encoded spiritual or ritual knowledge meant only for the initiated. Others believe it was paired with a spoken language that disappeared long ago. Fringe theories even propose it was an entirely different form of communication, perhaps symbolic rather than phonetic. And then there's the civilization's greatest mystery of all. What caused its sudden collapse around 1900 BCE? The cities were gradually abandoned, but why? Climate change? Shifting rivers? Internal decline? No one can say for sure. With their disappearance, the script faded too. Today, all we have are fragments, seals locked away in museum drawers, symbols carved in forgotten stone, thousands of silent messages staring at us across the gulf of time. What were they trying to say? Were they counting goods, invoking gods, recording history, or something else entirely? Until we can finally read their words, the soul of the Indus Valley remains a whisper from the deep past, an ancient voice still waiting to be heard. The lost labyrinth of Egypt. Egypt, the land of towering monuments and timeless kings whose names are carved into eternity. Yet, even here, amidst the familiar grandeur of pyramids and temples, secrets lie buried, secrets that defy explanation and challenge what we think we know. Head southwest of Cairo, beyond the well-trodden paths of the Giza Plateau, past the shadow of the Great Pyramids, and you'll find a quiet, forgotten plain near the village of Hawara. To the casual eye, it looks unremarkable, just low mounds of broken stone scattered across dry earth. But ancient texts tell a far more extraordinary story. Once, here stood something vast and unlike anything else in Egypt, or the ancient world. They called it the labyrinth. The earliest mention comes from Herodotus in the 5th century BCE. The Greek historian claimed he saw it with his own eyes, a building more impressive than even the pyramids themselves. He described 12 grand courts and thousands of interwoven chambers, twisting passageways threading through 2 colossal levels, one above ground, one below. Deep within those lower chambers, Herodotus said, lay the tombs of kings and sacred crocodiles, sealed away from the world. Other ancient voices echoed the tale. Diodorus, Pliny the Elder, Strabo. They all spoke of this labyrinthine marvel. Some believed it was a temple, others, a royal archive. But whispers hint at something even more mysterious, a place not just meant to confuse, but designed to protect. A fortress built to guard secret knowledge, sacred rites, or hidden truths, meant only for the initiated few. And yet, despite these vivid accounts, no clear trace of the labyrinth has ever been found, or so it seems. In the late 19th century, the celebrated Egyptologist Flinders Petrie excavated near Hawara. He uncovered the remains of a massive platform stretching nearly 300 meters long, beneath which he believed the labyrinth once stood. Fragments of columns, intricate carvings, polished floors. These fragments hinted at greatness, but the labyrinth itself was gone. Dismantled long ago, its stones repurposed, its halls collapsed, its story silenced by time. But the mystery reignited in 2008. A team of Belgian and Egyptian researchers used ground-penetrating radar to scan beneath the sands. What they found was astonishing. Complex geometric anomalies, rectangular patterns beneath layers of sand and debris, suggestive of walls, rooms, or corridors hidden deep underground. Could this be the lost labyrinth? Or perhaps yet another forgotten structure, patiently waiting to reveal its story? Speculation runs wild. Some propose the labyrinth was a grand library, safeguarding sacred texts and knowledge from Egypt's earliest dynasties. Others believe it housed records of pre-dynastic kings, or even civilizations predating Egypt itself. Fringe theories go further still, linking the labyrinth to Atlantis, secret societies, or cryptic wisdom passed down from a lost age. But despite all the stories, maps, and satellite images, one truth remains. No modern excavation has yet fully uncovered what lies beneath Hawara. What was the purpose of such a vast and intricate structure? Why was it buried, dismantled, erased from history? And what secrets might still lie hidden beneath that quiet plain of stone and sand? The lost labyrinth of Egypt continues to elude us, not just physically, but intellectually. A riddle carved in stone, then swept away, waiting perhaps for the right eyes to discover it once again. The enigma of the Sacsayhuaman stones. Not all ancient mysteries reach for the sky. Some are carved deep into the very bones of the earth. Perched high above the city of Cusco in Peru, where the air thins and the mountains stretch toward a clear, crystalline sky, lies the fortress of Sacsayhuaman. Its terraces wind across the hillside like the script of a forgotten language, each curve and step whispering secrets long lost. But the true wonder is in its walls. Massive stones, some weighing over 100 tons, fit together with such mind-boggling precision that not even a blade of grass slips between them. These stones aren't just stacked, they're sculpted, melted, and molded by intention, shaped with irregular angles and multifaceted faces that interlock like a perfect puzzle. No mortar binds them. Yet these walls have endured centuries of powerful earthquakes, shaking and toppling modern buildings nearby, while Sacsayhuaman stands strong, bending and curving, embracing the contours of the rugged land as if the architecture itself understands movement. Mainstream archaeology credits the Inca Empire for this masterpiece, their stonework famously refined and precise. But even among Incan sites, Sacsayhuaman stands apart, grand in scale, older in feel, wrapped in mystery. Some experts believe the Inca inherited Sacsayhuaman, building upon the foundations laid by a vanished civilization, one whose name is lost to time, but whose stones remain. How were these enormous monoliths cut with such flawless joints? What tools could shape them with such precision? How were these colossal blocks transported across steep, uneven terrain, without wheels or draft animals? Modern experiments with chisels and levers recreate some of the work, yet many questions linger. No surviving texts or blueprints explain their methods. Only the stones themselves, silent witnesses, untouched by time. Could it be that ancient builders possessed a profound knowledge of stone, combining physical skill with an understanding of natural fractures and mineral properties? Or did they employ techniques lost to history, perhaps using heat, vibration, or chemical softening to shape these colossal rocks as if they were clay? Some theories stretch beyond the conventional, suggesting sound frequencies played a role, that this was not merely engineering, but a deliberate language written in mass and angle. Sacsayhuaman is more than a wall. It is a statement, a challenge. It asks us not only how it was built, but why. Was it purely defensive, ceremonial, astronomical, or something stranger, aligned with energies we no longer perceive, calibrated to a worldview we no longer understand? And if we have all the tools now, why can we not replicate its elegance? Perhaps the true mystery of Sacsayhuaman lies not in what has been lost, but in what remains. Stone shaped without arrogance, silent but unyielding. A message, not meant to be read with eyes, but felt deep within. And in that feeling, we are left to wonder, who were they really? And what ancient wisdom did they possess? Wisdom that has since slipped through the cracks of time. From the high ridges of the Andes, where the stones of Sacsayhuaman hold their silent symmetry, the past still speaks. The lost city of Z. Not all mysteries are carved into stone. Some are hidden deep within the pulse of living wilderness, places where time doesn't just pass, it swallows whole. The Amazon rainforest stretches like an endless ocean of green, vast, dense, and almost unfathomable. Beneath its towering canopy, sunlight struggles to reach the forest floor. Rivers twist and disappear into the undergrowth, while the air hangs heavy with the mingling scents of life and decay, an eternal dance of creation and destruction. Here, Amid the thick shadows and vibrant life, one legend endures above all: the lost city of Z. For British explorer Percy Fawcett, this wasn't just a myth, it was a calling. In the early 1900s, Fawcett ventured deep into the Amazon, driven by tales of an ancient, advanced civilization hidden from modern eyes. He called it simply Z. Guided by cryptic manuscripts, indigenous stories, and strange artifacts he uncovered along the way, Fawcett was convinced this lost city rivaled the great civilizations of old, its people possibly masters of mathematics, astronomy, and maybe something even more extraordinary. But in 1925, Fawcett disappeared into the jungle with his son and a small team, vanishing without a trace. What became of them remains one of the 20th century's greatest mysteries. More haunting still is the question he left behind. Was he wrong? Or was he just ahead of his time? For decades, scholars dismissed Fawcett's dream as colonial fantasy, an impossible notion projected onto a wild and unforgiving landscape. The Amazon's poor soil and harsh conditions seemed to rule out any large, complex society ever having flourished there. Yet recent breakthroughs have begun to rewrite that story. Thanks to satellite imagery and LiDAR technology, researchers have uncovered vast networks of ancient earthworks hidden beneath centuries of jungle growth. Geoglyphs, causeways, and city-like layouts carved into the land. Hidden mounds and straight-line ditches suggest intentional design. Evidence of agriculture, roads, and even possible ceremonial centers paints a vastly different picture, one of a sophisticated civilization thriving in harmony with its environment. Is this the city of Z? Or perhaps thousands of smaller Zs, scattered across a forgotten Amazonian empire? The jungle hides many secrets. These sites remain difficult to access and vulnerable to being swallowed again by time and nature. The glimpses we have suggest a society both remarkably adapted and mysteriously vanished long before European explorers ever arrived. What knowledge did they possess that we have yet to rediscover? Indigenous oral traditions tell of stone and earth structures, places of power, places of purpose. And what about Fawcett himself? Did he find the city he sought and choose to remain? Or did the forest, like the mystery itself, simply close in around him? The lost city of Z lingers in our imagination because it speaks to something far deeper, a whisper from the uncharted wild, reminding us that not all civilizations leave behind grand monuments. Some leave only questions. The Baalbek megaliths. Our journey takes us eastward to a land where the very earth appears sculpted with impossible purpose. In Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, framed by distant mountains and ancient olive groves, lie the monumental ruins of Baalbek. At first glance, Baalbek looks like a Roman masterpiece. Soaring Corinthian columns rising skyward, the remains of the grand temple of Jupiter commanding the horizon. Yet beneath these classical ruins lies something far older, far more enigmatic. Massive stone blocks form the foundation upon which the Roman temple was constructed. These are no ordinary stones. Among them are 3 colossal blocks known as the Trilithon, each weighing an astonishing 800 tons. Nearby, partially buried beneath the earth, rests an even larger megalith, the so-called Stone of the Pregnant Woman, estimated to tip the scales at over 1,000 tons. And more recently, archaeologists uncovered another behemoth still embedded in its quarry, surpassing all in size and weight. Cut, shaped, and moved with such breathtaking precision and scale, these stones pose questions that echo far beyond their physical presence. How were they quarried and transported? Conventional archaeology points to ramps, rollers, and sheer manpower. The Romans certainly mastered monumental architecture, but many experts argue these megaliths predate the Roman temple by centuries. perhaps even millennia. Their exact age remains uncertain. No inscriptions connect these stones to any known culture, and ancient texts make no mention of their construction. So we are left with theories. One suggests the stones were dragged from the quarry on sledges over wet sand, pulled by enormous labor forces. Yet even this explanation strains credulity under the weight involved. The rugged terrain between quarry and platform shows no clear signs of such infrastructure. And once on site, how were these gigantic blocks lifted, aligned, and fitted with such meticulous precision? The stones sit so tightly together that even today, a knife blade cannot slip between them. Their surfaces are perfectly flat, their edges sharp, as if cut by tools far more advanced than crude chisels. Speculation inevitably follows. Some propose these megaliths are remnants of an ancient, forgotten civilization whose mastery of stonework far surpassed what we usually credit to the ancient world. Others believe Baalbek was more than a temple, perhaps a sacred or energetic center, with stones deliberately arranged to harness natural forces. Some fringe theories even link Baalbek to biblical legends, suggesting it may have been the city of Cain or constructed by giants. Yet no definitive answer has emerged. Why go to such lengths to move stones no one would ever see, buried beneath later temples? What purpose justified such monumental labor? Was it simply architectural ambition, or something far deeper? The Baalbek megaliths challenge not only our understanding of ancient engineering, but also our grasp of human intention. They compel us to look beyond the question of how civilizations built, and ask instead, why? As the sun sets over shattered columns and long-forgotten stones, one cannot help but wonder, what knowledge once thrived here, now lost beneath centuries of silence and stone? And so the massive stones of Baalbek rest quietly, half buried in the soil of antiquity, waiting for their story to be fully told. Stonehenge, sentinels of the forgotten sky. Across the rolling green of England's Salisbury Plain, under the open sky and the drifting hush of wind, stands a monument that has outlasted empires. Silent, immovable, eternal. This is Stonehenge, a ring of giants carved from stone, casting long shadows not just across the land, but across time itself. From a distance, it's hauntingly simple. Massive weathered stones rising out of the grass in solemn formation. But draw closer, and the simplicity dissolves into wonder. Towering sarsens, some capped with massive lintels that lock them together like teeth of some ancient machine. And nestled within, smaller bluestones, somehow hauled from the far reaches of Wales, more than 150 miles away. Stonehenge wasn't built all at once. It took shape over centuries, beginning as early as 3000 BCE, long before written words reached these shores. And yet, its layout reveals an astonishing grasp of geometry, astronomy, and sacred alignment. On the morning of the summer solstice, the sun rises in perfect synchrony with the heelstone, sending its light straight through the heart of the monument. In winter, the setting sun performs its own silent ritual across the same axis. Coincidence? Unlikely. Across millennia, the builders of Stonehenge tracked the turning of the heavens, encoding time itself into stone. But why? Was it a calendar? A celestial observatory? A sacred space for marking the cycles of life, death, and rebirth? Clues lie scattered across the surrounding landscape. Nearby, at Durrington Walls, remnants of massive timber structures suggest ritual gatherings, perhaps feasts or pilgrimages tied to the monument's use. Burials, some dating back thousands of years, point toward Stonehenge as a site of reverence, a threshold between worlds where the living came to honor the dead. Yet, how it was built, remains as elusive as why. Imagine dragging stones that weigh up to 30 tons across hills and rivers, with no wheels, no beasts of burden. Were they rolled on logs, sledged across wet tracks, floated on rafts down forgotten waterways? And then, the greater puzzle, how were they lifted into place with such flawless balance? Mainstream archaeology praises ingenuity and community effort, suggesting decades, perhaps centuries, of collective vision. But the sheer scale and the precision leave many asking if something deeper inspired it. Was it spiritual? Cosmic? Was this place meant to be more than practical? A symbol etched in stone of humanity's longing to connect with the stars? Theories abound. Some believe Stonehenge was a sanctuary of healing, its blue stones carrying energies believed to restore and renew. Others say it was a cosmic mirror, a device to chart celestial rhythms, a kind of ancient observatory aligned not just to the sun and moon, but to meaning itself. And then there are those who step further still, imagining Stonehenge as a legacy left by forgotten civilizations, or visitors from beyond the stars. Whatever its purpose, one truth remains undeniable. Stonehenge was built by minds both brilliant and bold, people who looked to the sky and shaped the earth in response. It was not the work of the primitive, but of the profound. Their stones still stand, weathered, unwavering, testaments to a vision we may never fully understand. Why did they build it? What did they see in the movement of the stars? What did they feel when they stood at its center, encircled by giants of their own making? Stonehenge does not speak. It does not explain, but it endures. And in its silence, it whispers that we are not the first to ask the questions, only the latest to listen. The Yonaguni Monument, a riddle beneath the waves. In the hush of the ocean's depths, where sunlight flickers like memory across stone and silence speaks louder than sound, another mystery lies hidden, half seen, half believed. Off the southern tip of Japan, near the remote island of Yonaguni, divers exploring coral reefs in the mid-1980s stumbled upon something they were never meant to find. Something immense. Something that did not seem to belong. Rising from the seabed like the bones of a forgotten temple, the Yonaguni Monument took shape. Massive, angular, and unmistakably deliberate. Submerged beneath nearly 25 meters of water, this structure resembles a sunken ziggurat or a lost acropolis carved into the bedrock itself. Its walls are sharp and straight, its terraces wide and level. Stone steps appear to climb from nowhere, some leading to what has been called an altar, others forming what looks like a grand stage. Flat plains intersect with startling precision, often at perfect 90-degree angles. Corridors seem to emerge from solid rock. The formation is vast, geometric, uncannily ordered. But is it man-made? That's where the mystery deepens. Some geologists argue it's a natural wonder, a product of sandstone fracture patterns shaped by tectonic shifts and centuries of relentless wave action. In a land so geologically active, they suggest, straight lines and clean breaks are simply nature's occasional signature. The ocean, after all, is no stranger to symmetry, but others are not so convinced. Marine geologist Masaki Kimura, who spent years studying the site, claims to have identified artificial features, stone roads, retaining walls, and even what appear to be carved symbols. He believes the Yonaguni Monument is the remnant of a long-lost coastal city, possibly submerged more than 10,000 years ago, before the end of the last ice age, when rising seas swallowed entire landscapes. If true, such a city would predate every known civilization by millennia. It would rewrite the timeline of human history. It would mean that an advanced, Organized society once flourished here, unknown to us and utterly forgotten. And yet, the evidence remains frustratingly incomplete. No pottery, no tools, no inscriptions, no skeletons, only the shape, the angles, the impossible symmetry resting at the bottom of the sea. So, is it just pareidolia? Are we seeing what we want to see? Architecture, design, intention, where nature has simply played its hand? Or are we truly glimpsing the ruins of a culture drowned by time, erased by rising tides, and remembered only in myths? Some say the monument is an echo of ancient flood legends, tales told by cultures across the globe of cities swallowed by water and civilizations erased in a single breath. Others go further still, linking Yonaguni to the fabled continents of Lemuria or Mu, vast prehistoric lands lost beneath the Pacific, known only through stories that sit on the edge of history and dream. And so the monument waits. It has no name, no language, no confirmed origin, just the steady rhythm of currents brushing its silent walls, and the questions it stirs in those who descend into the depths to see it. Was it carved by ancient hands? Or is it the ocean itself, sculpting a message in stone we've yet to understand? The Yonaguni monument rests beneath salt and silence, a riddle sunken in time. And as we leave it behind, still, unmoving, unanswered, we are left with a question that echoes longer than any legend. What else have we lost that we haven't yet found? Tartessos, the vanished kingdom of silver and silence. In the faded echoes of ancient texts and the soft whispers of buried marshes, there lingers the memory of a kingdom now largely forgotten. Known to the Greeks as Tartessos and possibly remembered in the Hebrew scriptures as Tarshish, it was once said to be a land of staggering abundance, where silver was so plentiful it lost its value. Herodotus wrote of it. So did Strabo and Avienus. A trading port at the edge of the known world, a glittering outpost of wealth and wonder. But who were the Tartessians? And why, after centuries of presence, did they simply vanish? By the dawn of the first millennium BCE, Tartessos had already faded into shadow, becoming not just a lost city, but one of the great enigmas of the Western Mediterranean. It was a culture seemingly of two worlds, intertwined with the great civilizations of the ancient age, yet distinct, remote, and wrapped in its own mystery. Archaeological finds hint at a people skilled in metallurgy and trade. Gold and silver work of stunning intricacy has been unearthed from ancient burial sites, delicate and deliberate, echoing motifs both local and foreign. They traded with the Phoenicians, perhaps even the early Greeks, exchanging precious metals for ideas and goods from across the sea. Yet no sprawling stone cities remain, no monumental temples carved into mountainsides. What survives are mere fragments, adorned jewelry hidden in tombs, river-smooth stones etched with cryptic symbols, and occasional traces of structures now claimed by shifting sands and time. Their language has been lost, their script undeciphered, known only from a handful of mysterious inscriptions that speak of something we can no longer read. Were they simply absorbed into the rising powers around them? Or did something more dramatic unfold? War, disease, economic collapse. Others suggest cataclysm, a flood, a tsunami, the sea itself swallowing their coastal world whole. And then comes the more tantalizing theory, that Tartessos may have been the seed of Plato's Atlantis, the shimmering coastal civilization that disappeared suddenly and without a trace. Was the philosopher's tale of a sunken utopia a distorted echo of Tartessos, passed through generations of oral tradition and reshaped by imagination? Modern investigations have returned their gaze to the salt-stung marshes near Doñana National Park in southern Spain, where ancient lagoons once stretched inland from the Atlantic. Here, satellite scans and ground-penetrating radar have revealed odd, geometric forms, shapes buried beneath layers of mud and sediment, suggestive of forgotten structures lying in wait. Are these the remains of Tartessos, slowly emerging from beneath centuries of tidal retreat? Or do they belong to a civilization even older still? Despite years of study, the mystery holds. Tartessos remains elusive, half in history, half in myth. A civilization that traded silver and tin with the known world, that left behind neither city walls nor carved chronicles, only whispers in gold, stone, and the turning tides. What stories did they tell? What gods did they worship? What winds carried their ships across the sea? And what final storm stilled them? The silence of the marshes today is thick with questions. And as the tides gently move across this forgotten land, they wash over more than earth. They pass over the faint memory of a kingdom that once glittered, then slipped quietly into legend. The Great Pyramid of Giza. Silence in stone. Beneath the burning sun of northern Egypt, where the golden sands stretch endlessly across the Giza Plateau, rises a monument not shrouded in jungle or buried beneath the sea, but standing in plain view, as if daring the modern world to understand it. There is nothing subtle about the Great Pyramid of Giza. It declares its presence with stark clarity. Towering, angular, precise, it has stood for over 4,500 years, a riddle of stone under the open sky. Tradition tells us it was built for Pharaoh Khufu and once stood nearly 146 meters tall. Its four sides align almost perfectly with the cardinal directions. Its base is so level, the margins of error fall within mere centimeters. Over 2 million limestone and granite blocks, some weighing as much as 80 tons, form its mass, placed together with such care that even today, a blade cannot slip between them. It is the last of the ancient seven wonders still standing. Yet the deeper wonder is not in what we see, but in what remains unsolved. How was it built? That simple question has haunted generations. The standard view suggests a combination of ramps, levers, and sheer manpower, tens of thousands of laborers working across decades. But the logistics stagger the imagination, hauling granite from quarries hundreds of kilometers away, setting blocks with precision across a vast structure, carving internal shafts and galleries whose functions are still debated, and all of it accomplished without modern machinery, without cranes or laser levels or steel tools. Even more puzzling, there are no blueprints, no clear instructions, no inscriptions inside the pyramid naming its builders or confirming its purpose. The structure explains itself, yet tells us nothing. Step inside, and the temperature falls. The silence deepens. The air is thick, still, and heavy with ancient intent. The grand gallery stretches upward like a corridor to the stars, its corbelled ceiling echoing with footfalls and mystery. At its end lies the king's chamber, spare, angular, and silent. A single empty sarcophagus rests at its center. No hieroglyphs, no treasures, no mummy. Just stone and space and questions. The chamber is lined with massive granite blocks, so finely positioned that engineers still debate how such precision was achieved. Above it, a series of so-called relieving chambers serve to disperse weight. But perhaps they also conceal something symbolic, something more. Air shafts, narrow, slanted passageways, lead from the king's and queen's chambers to the outside world. Were they meant to ventilate the pyramid, align with stars, or serve as spiritual escape routes? In 2017, a team using muon tomography the same technology used to peer inside volcanoes, discovered something new. A previously unknown cavity, at least 30 meters in length, hidden above the Grand Gallery. It has no apparent access, no known function. Its contents, if any, remain untouched by human hands for millennia. A tomb? A structural feature? Or something we do not yet have the language to describe? Theories abound. Some say the pyramid encodes mathematical constants, pi, the golden ratio, even the speed of light. Others claim it was more than a burial site, suggesting it may have been an ancient power generator, an astronomical observatory, or a repository of sacred knowledge lost in time. Mainstream archaeology is cautious. The pyramid, they remind us, was built by people, not gods or aliens, but even they admit its secrets are not yet fully unraveled. Why such perfection for a tomb? Why such effort? And why does this silent monument continue to stir something in us, generation after generation? The Great Pyramid doesn't ask us to believe. It asks us to be still, to observe, to listen. And in that stillness, we begin to wonder, what have we missed, simply because it was always right before our eyes? As the sun casts long shadows across its weathered face, the pyramid speaks in silence, not of kings or death, but of precision, purpose, and perhaps something more. And far across the oceans, where the Andes rise toward the heavens, another enigma waits among the clouds, one chiseled from stone and cloaked in mist. The Osirian at Abydos echoes beneath the sand, far from the crowds of Giza and hidden deep within Upper Egypt's desert. Another mystery rests in stillness, one that does not rise proudly above the sand, but instead sinks quietly beneath it. Tucked behind the grand and elaborately decorated temple of Seti Ur, at the sacred site of Abydos, lies a structure that seems to belong to another time entirely. Sunken, shadowed, and partially submerged, the Osirian does not reveal itself easily. It is not meant to. Unlike the grace and refinement of the temples that surround it, the Osirian speaks in stark, monolithic silence. Its granite blocks, immense and bare, stand in quiet defiance. Each one, some weighing as much as 60 tons, was transported from Aswan over 100 miles to the south and placed with remarkable precision. The design is austere, squared pillars, stone corridors, and a sense of weight that feels older than the desert itself. There are no inscriptions carved into the walls, no hieroglyphs to tell its story, no names etched in honor of a pharaoh or god. In a civilization that recorded every sacred deed in stone, the Osirian remains curiously and purposefully mute. Conventional scholarship attributes the monument to Seti III, the New Kingdom pharaoh, who reigned around the 13th century BCE. His temple above bears the marks of his reign. A corridor even connects the two sites. And yet, none of this explains the architectural dissonance between them. Seti's temple is adorned, ceremonial, and full of narrative reliefs. The Osirian is megalithic, primal, and utterly enigmatic. Its style appears far older, closer to the mysterious stoneworks found in pre-dynastic sites across the world. Some researchers suggest the Osirian may be far more ancient than the rest of Abydos, its true origin forgotten long before Seti's time. If so, it may have been repurposed by the Egyptians, an inherited sacred site from a civilization now lost to memory. And there is water. Always, the Osirian is partially flooded. Its floor lies beneath the water table, meaning that even in ancient times, the chamber would have been filled with groundwater. Was this a mistake or a design? Did the builders intend for water to seep into the sacred space, mirroring the myth of Osiris and the mysteries of death, rebirth, and the underworld? Some believe the Osirian was a symbolic tomb for Osiris himself, a portal to the realm of the dead. Others see in its design echoes of something much older, perhaps even a pre-Egyptian legacy. Its geometry, simplicity, and silence suggest it may have been constructed not for ceremony, but for something else, something we no longer understand. Adding to the enigma, lightly etched into one of its granite pillars is the famous flower of life, a geometric symbol associated with sacred patterns and universal harmony. While most scholars agree the carving was added in much later times, its presence has drawn modern interest. Is it just a decorative mark or a clue? A mathematical message lost in the echoes of stone? The Osirian offers no answers. It rests beneath sand and water, its massive stones unmoved by the passage of centuries. Its mystery does not shout. It waits quietly for rediscovery. Why build such a monument in such an inaccessible place? Why no texts, no names, no history carved into its walls? Perhaps it was never meant to be seen by the living. Perhaps it was meant to be forgotten. Or perhaps, like so many ancient enigmas, it is part of a much larger story, one we've barely begun to uncover. And as the light dims and shadows stretch across the desert, the Osirian remains, a sunken monument carved in silence, asking not what we know, but what we've lost. Göbekli Tepe, the temple. That time forgot. Far from the legends of sunken cities and ocean-washed ruins, there lies another mystery, one not buried beneath waves, but nestled quietly beneath ancient soil, on a hill that has watched the centuries drift by like wind through grass. High above the dry plains of southeastern Turkey, near the city of Şanlıurfa, a rocky mound rises from the landscape. To a passing traveler, it might seem no more than a bump on the earth, unremarkable, still forgotten. But beneath this hill lies something that has rewritten history, a sight so old, so unexpected, that it calls into question everything we thought we knew about the birth of civilization. This is Göbekli Tepe, the oldest known temple complex on Earth. First brought to light in the mid-1990s, Göbekli Tepe stunned archaeologists. Radiocarbon dating placed its earliest construction around 9,600 BCE, nearly 12,000 years ago. That's thousands of years before the pyramids of Egypt, before Stonehenge, even before farming as we traditionally understand it. Here, massive T-shaped stone pillars, some weighing over 10 tons, rise in deliberate circles. Each pillar is carved with astonishing detail. Foxes with narrow eyes, birds in flight, snakes twisting, and strange humanoid figures. The carvings are elegant, haunting, and filled with meaning we no longer recognize. And this is what makes Göbekli Tepe so extraordinary. At a time when humans were thought to be nomadic hunter-gatherers, with no cities, no writing, no metal tools, no domesticated animals, somehow these people came together to build something monumental, not to shelter themselves, not to store food, but to mark something sacred. For decades, the story we told ourselves was simple. First came agriculture, then settlements, then religion and art. But Göbekli Tepe whispers a different story, one where belief may have come first, one where early humans gathered not just to survive, but to honor something greater, to create meaning long before they created cities. And the mystery only deepens. Archaeologists have only scratched the surface of this vast site, literally. Less than 10% has been excavated. What has been uncovered suggests layer upon layer of construction, with newer enclosures built atop older ones. Some carvings appear to represent familiar animals. Others seem more symbolic, perhaps astronomical or even mythic. One pillar, known as Pillar 43, has stirred much debate. A strange disk above a scattering of creatures, which some interpret as a record of a comet strike or cosmic memory. But there are no written records, no names, no graves, no clear signs of who built it or why. Mainstream theories suggest it was a seasonal gathering place, a ritual center where scattered communities came together for shared ceremonies. But others propose something more radical, that Göbekli Tepe was built by a lost culture, one with knowledge that has since vanished. That the carvings contain messages meant to be read not just with eyes, but with understanding we no longer possess. And then, perhaps the greatest mystery of all, its burial. Long after its use, the people of Göbekli Tepe, or someone else, carefully and deliberately covered the site with earth, not through decay or neglect, but through effort, as if to hide it, protect it, or perhaps erase it. Why would anyone bury a sacred place? Was it forgotten? Or was the burial itself part of a ritual, a closing of a chapter in human consciousness? Today, as archaeologists slowly peel back the soil, Göbekli Tepe continues to astonish. With each new discovery, the questions only multiply. The stones do not explain themselves. But in the silence of this wind-blown hilltop, something lingers. A presence, a purpose. Was this the world's first temple? A moment of awakening in the human story? Or a message, quietly left behind by a civilization we no longer remember? Göbekli Tepe does not offer easy answers, but it does offer something else. Something perhaps more important, a reminder that the past is not gone. It is waiting, and in that waiting, there is wonder. Atlantis, echoes of a forgotten world. Beneath the ever-moving surface of the Atlantic Ocean, somewhere beyond what history can confirm and memory can quite recall, lies the shadow of a place the world has never stopped wondering about. A realm not found on any map, yet endlessly drawn in the imagination. A city of light, power, and mystery, known simply as Atlantis. The story begins over 2,000 years ago. Around 360 BCE, the Greek philosopher Plato described a mighty island civilization in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias. He spoke of an empire that once thrived beyond the Pillars of Heracles, what we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. This land, Atlantis, was said to possess staggering wealth and breathtaking beauty. Concentric rings of land and water formed its capital, where golden statues gleamed under the sun, where majestic temples pierced the sky, and where wisdom walked hand in hand with power. But then, suddenly, tragically, it was gone. In a single day and night of catastrophe, Atlantis sank beneath the sea, lost to the world forever. Was this Plato's invention? A symbolic tale of pride, corruption, and downfall? Or had he preserved, in his writings, a memory far older than even he understood, an echo of a real place, long vanished from the earth? Historians have debated this for centuries. Some argue Atlantis was never meant to be taken literally, that it was a parable, a philosophical device, a moral compass wrapped in myth. Others suggest that Plato was recounting a much older story, possibly inherited from Egyptian priests, who, according to his narrative, shared it with the Greek statesman Solon during his visit to the ancient city of Sais. If their timeline was accurate, Atlantis had been destroyed over 9,000 years before Plato's own time, placing it far beyond the reach of any known civilization. And yet, something about the tale lingers. Across the centuries, explorers, scientists, and dreamers have searched for its remains. Some look to the volcanic island of Santorini, once the heart of the Minoan civilization. Around 1600 BCE, a massive eruption obliterated its center, sending waves and ash across the Aegean. The destruction was sudden, the society advanced. Could this have been the historical kernel behind the myth? Others turn westward, to the coastlines of Spain and Morocco, or to the mysterious formations near the Azores, deep in the Atlantic. Some point to the Caribbean basin, or even Antarctica, citing lost maps and unexplained geological features as clues. Underwater structures spotted by satellite imagery have fueled speculation. Are these natural formations, or the ruins of harbors, roads, and buildings long swallowed by the sea? Mainstream archaeology has found no concrete proof, no sunken statues, no carved inscriptions, no traceable ruins. But for every absence, the fascination only deepens. More unconventional voices suggest that Atlantis may have been part of a forgotten global civilization, an advanced network of societies erased by a catastrophe now remembered only in flood myths and legends. They point to ancient maps, like the Piri Reis, which depict Antarctica centuries before it was officially discovered. They ask, how did people know what they shouldn't have known? And why do cultures across the world, from Mesopotamia to Mesoamerica, carry hauntingly similar tales of a deluge that wiped out entire worlds? Perhaps Atlantis was never one place at all, but an idea, repeated in different forms, a name given to a lost age, a symbol of what might have been. Still, Atlantis has left no clear trace, and maybe that is the most powerful part of its story. It is a mystery that hovers just beyond proof, close enough to be imagined, but distant enough to remain unsolved. A dream the world cannot wake from. A reminder that for all we know, there are still chapters missing from the story of our past. And so the question remains, just as it did in Plato's time, was Atlantis ever real? Or is its silence the loudest answer we'll ever receive? The Kailasa Temple, carved from a mountain high in the rugged hills of western India, where the wind moves slowly over ancient stone and the earth seems to hum with forgotten intention, stands a structure that defies both logic and time. It is not built upon the rock, but within it. This is not a temple assembled stone by stone, but one released from the heart of a mountain. In the quiet town of Ellora, nestled within the Sahyadri range, lies the Kailasa Temple, an awe-inspiring creation carved downward from a single solid basalt cliff. Unlike other monuments born of construction, this sanctuary was revealed by subtraction. Stone wasn't laid here, it was removed. Chiseled away with uncanny precision, more than 200,000 tons of rock were meticulously extracted to uncover what appears to be an entire freestanding temple. Shrines, staircases, pillars, courtyards, all sculpted from the living mountain. Dedicated to Lord Shiva, Kailasa forms part of the larger Ellora cave complex, which includes over 30 ancient Buddhist, Hindu, and Jain sanctuaries. Yet among them all, Kailasa stands unmatched, not only in its breathtaking scale, but in the mystery of its creation. Traditional accounts credit the temple to King Krishna I of the Rashtrakuta dynasty in the 8th century CE. Inscriptions suggest he ordered its construction, but here the timelines raise questions. Experts estimate that such a colossal task would require centuries of unbroken labor, even with thousands of skilled artisans. And yet, legend whispers that it was finished in just 18 years. Is such a feat even possible? How could ancient craftsmen, without modern tools, without blueprints, carve downward into solid rock with such flawless accuracy? There was no margin for error. One wrong cut, one misaligned column, and the entire structure could have been ruined forever. But there are no such flaws here. What remains is perfect harmony. Temple walls adorned with flowing depictions of gods and myths. Elephants that seem to hold the temple's base on their backs. Towering columns rising in unison, all carved from a single, unbroken stone. There are no seams, no assembly, no foundation, because the mountain is the foundation. Such artistry begs deeper questions. Was this temple built purely by human hands, guided by devotion and brilliance? Or did the builders possess knowledge now lost to history? Techniques that softened stone, resonant tools, or perhaps an understanding of matter we no longer remember? Some even speculate that Kailasa may stand atop older ruins, foundations laid by an earlier civilization that predates even the Rashtrakutas. Yet, no detailed plans remain. No ancient scrolls explain the process. Only the temple itself endures, rising in silence from the hollowed stone. Step into its shadow, and the cool stillness surrounds you. It feels not just carved, but summoned, called forth from the earth by something more than skill. Was this monument an offering, a gesture of faith? Or is it the echo of a forgotten age when human ambition brushed against the divine? We may never know. And so, the Kailasa temple sits in stillness beneath the Indian sun, a mystery carved not in memory, but in granite, not written in words, but whispered in form. And from these sun-washed courtyards, cut deep into sacred rock, the path continues, leading us further into the unknown. The emperor's hidden empire, beneath the earth, in the heart of China, where history lies thick in the soil and legends drift like mist across the hills, there exists a burial site unlike any other, a tomb veiled in secrecy, untouched by time, and still holding tightly to its ancient silence. Near the historic city of Xi'an, beneath a broad mound of earth in Lintong, rests the final domain of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of a unified China. In 221 BCE, he forged together the warring states into a single empire, a feat that changed the course of history. And yet, it is his death, not just his reign, that continues to stir the greatest intrigue. His mausoleum, constructed in 210 BCE, is no simple tomb. Stretching over an area of more than 50 square kilometers, it is said to be a microcosm of the emperor's empire, complete with man-made hills, flowing rivers of mercury, and even a recreation of his grand palace. A subterranean world meticulously designed to mirror the one he ruled above. But this astonishing vision was not built to be seen. The central burial chamber remains sealed, untouched by archaeologists, buried beneath layers of earth and centuries of uncertainty. What truly lies within is known only to time itself. What has been unearthed, however, is a sight that captures the breath: the terracotta army. Thousands of life-size statues of warriors, horses, and chariots, all crafted with remarkable detail. No two faces are the same. Each soldier stands at attention, eternally vigilant, as if still obeying the orders of their long-departed emperor. They were discovered by accident in 1974, and their presence has only deepened the mystery. These figures, arranged in perfect military formation, were not merely decorative. They were guardians, defenders of the tomb, protectors of whatever secrets lie beyond. Ancient records describe a vast and perilous tomb, guarded not only by stone and soil, but by elaborate mechanisms designed to thwart intruders. Traps, rivers of liquid mercury, and treasures of immense value are all said to reside within. Some texts claim that the tomb was sealed with deadly precision, its dangers intended to last forever. To this day, modern archaeologists have refrained from opening the main chamber. The reasons are many: concerns over preservation, the risks of damaging something irreplaceable, and perhaps a quiet reverence for what lies below. Some say it's caution. Others wonder if it is fear. Mercury levels around the mound remain unusually high, lending credence to ancient accounts of toxic rivers running through the underground structure. Was this symbolic? A reference to the boundary between life and death? Or did it serve a darker purpose, perhaps as a preservation technique or something more? Speculation thrives in the silence. Some believe the tomb contains more than wealth and ritual objects. They suggest it may conceal lost knowledge, technologies from a forgotten era, alchemical tools, or even experimental attempts at immortality. Qin Shi Huang was obsessed with living forever, sending emissaries in search of elixirs and forbidden cures. Could his tomb reflect this obsession? Was it a laboratory as much as a grave? Others venture further into the speculative. Was his quest for eternal life simply human ambition, or something more? A desire to transcend death in ways we don't yet understand? Could the tomb even hold knowledge not meant for this age? Messages from a time before ours? Or perhaps contact with something beyond? And yet, the mausoleum remains sealed. The Chinese government has chosen to let it lie in peace, despite modern advances that could allow non-invasive exploration. Perhaps out of respect, or perhaps because some mysteries are best left undisturbed. The question lingers in the stillness. What lies behind those ancient walls? We may one day uncover the truth, or we may continue to walk the surface above it, watched silently by legions of stone soldiers whose expressions have never changed. Their purpose remains fulfilled, guardians of a mystery that has endured for over 2,000 years. And so, beneath the soil of China, a silent empire waits, preserved in shadow, locked in stone and mercury, guarded by the past. Not just a tomb, but perhaps a message or a warning. What are we truly afraid of finding? And when the tomb of Qin Shi Huang is finally opened, what will we discover? The Long Yu Caves. Beneath the earth, where sunlight fades and silence reigns, lies a mystery not unearthed by archaeologists or historians, but stumbled upon by chance. It was 1992 in the quiet village of Xianbeikun, nestled in China's Zhejiang province. Locals, attempting to drain what they thought were ordinary village ponds, made a discovery that would baffle scholars for decades to come. As the water receded, the earth revealed something extraordinary. Vast man-made caverns, carved with intention and precision. These were not natural formations. They were the Long Yu Caves, an underground complex unlike anything else known in China or anywhere in the ancient world. So far, 24 such chambers have been uncovered, each immense in scale, some rising nearly 30 meters from floor to ceiling. But what truly captures the imagination is their uniformity. The walls, ceilings, and towering pillars are covered with parallel diagonal chisel marks, each one perfectly aligned, as though carved with a machine-like consistency. Every surface, touched by the same deliberate pattern. And yet, not a single historical document speaks of their existence. Not a single inscription. No name. No legend. No memory. In a country whose history stretches back thousands of years, meticulously recorded in chronicles and oral traditions, the total absence of any reference to the Long Yu Caves is as perplexing as the caverns themselves. Who created them? Why were they built? And perhaps most confounding of all, how? Conservative estimates suggest more than 1 million cubic meters of stone were removed by hand. And yet, no debris has ever been found. No nearby piles of stone. No discarded tools. No trace of the labor that must have taken place. The engineering alone, without the help of modern machinery, defies logic. Some scholars have speculated they may have served as granaries, tombs, or secret meeting halls. But no human remains, no artifacts, no ceremonial objects have been found. Others have suggested the caves could have been shelters, reservoirs, or even a forgotten engineering experiment, its purpose now lost to time. Still, the questions remain. Why such uniformity? Why such monumental effort, with no visible reward? And how did these enormous structures remain completely unknown, hidden beneath the feet of generations who lived above, until the end of the 20th century? More speculative voices whisper of deeper mysteries. Could these caverns predate known history? Might they have been built by a civilization erased from memory, lost not through decay, but by deliberate omission? Some draw eerie parallels to other unexplained megalithic sites across the world, wondering if these caves are part of a forgotten epoch, one where human knowledge reached far beyond what we currently believe. There is no evidence for such ideas. But then again, there is no evidence against them either. The Long U caves remain one of the world's great enigmas, not because of what lies within them, but because of what is absent. No inscriptions, no relics, no answers, only silence, only stone. So we are left to wonder, were these halls shaped by hands driven by ritual, by survival, or by a purpose that our modern minds can no longer comprehend? Whatever their origin, one truth is inescapable. Beneath the soil of a quiet Chinese village lies a forgotten story, still waiting to be heard. And as the cool shadows of the Long U caves return to their timeless slumber beneath the earth, the mystery deepens, unspoken, untouched, and unresolved. The crystal skulls, a mystery that glows with an almost otherworldly presence, an enigma carved in stone, silent yet speaking volumes across time. The crystal skulls, translucent, meticulously crafted, and shrouded in legend, have captivated human curiosity for decades, perhaps even centuries. These haunting artifacts, carved from solid quartz, possess an elegance that defies explanation and a mystery that refuses to fade. Of all these skulls, one stands out as the most renowned, the Mitchell-Hedges skull. Allegedly discovered in 1924, hidden among the ruins of an ancient Mayan temple in Belize, it was unearthed by Anna Mitchell-Hedges, daughter of British explorer Frederick Mitchell-Hedges. The skull, carved from a single flawless block of clear quartz crystal, is nearly identical in size and shape to a human head. Its features, its cheekbones, eye sockets, even individual teeth, are so exquisitely detailed, so eerily perfect, that it seems almost alive. Polished to an uncanny brilliance, the skull glimmers in the light, casting a glow that feels both inviting and unnatural. It is said to be more than a work of art. It may have served a purpose, spiritual, ceremonial, or possibly technological. But that purpose remains unclear, and its origins are wrapped in shadow. And this skull is not alone. Over the years, more crystal skulls have come to light. The Smithsonian skull, resting quietly in the halls of the Smithsonian Institution. The Paris skull, housed within the Musée du Quai Branly, and others, scattered across museums and private collections. Each one is unique, yet they all share the same breathtaking craftsmanship, each carved from solid crystal, each created with a precision so advanced, some say even today's technology would struggle to replicate it. And this raises a question: how were they made? The mainstream theory suggests they are relics of Mesoamerican civilizations, perhaps created by the Mayans or Aztecs using rudimentary tools and abrasive techniques. But this explanation, while grounded, feels incomplete. The craftsmanship is simply too refined, too exact. In fact, modern analysis has led some to believe that the skulls might be far older than any known civilization in the Americas. Perhaps they were created not by the cultures we know, but by a forgotten people. A civilization lost to time, or erased from history altogether. Others take the mystery even further. There are those who believe the skulls are remnants of an advanced civilization, one that had access to technology and knowledge far beyond what we consider possible for ancient times. Still more fantastical theories suggest they may not be from Earth at all, that these skulls are alien artifacts left behind as messages, tools, or keys to something humanity has yet to understand. And then there are the stories, the whispers, the claims that these skulls possess energy, consciousness, power. Some say that when held or closely observed, the skulls can induce visions, dreams, or sensations, almost as if they are communicating with the observer. Others tell of rituals, ancient and secret, in which the skulls were used to channel energy or unlock hidden knowledge. These tales align with long-standing beliefs in the mystical properties of crystals, stone as memory, as conduit, as vessel of truth. Could it be that these skulls carry wisdom? A message encoded in their geometry, waiting to be deciphered? Could they be tools, perhaps not just of stone, but of spirit and mind? Even today, after decades of study and debate, science offers no definitive answers. Some skeptics maintain that the skulls are modern creations, perhaps sculpted in the 19th or early 20th century by master artisans. If so, their skill remains astonishing. But if not, if they truly are ancient, the implications ripple outward like echoes in a cave. Are the crystal skulls merely beautiful objects, or do they represent a doorway into a past we've forgotten or a future we've yet to reach? As the light reflects off their polished surfaces, they remain silent sentinels of a forgotten era, objects of reverence, awe, and endless speculation. They do not explain themselves. They do not reveal their purpose. And so, they continue to wait, shimmering with that same enigmatic glow, guardians of a mystery not yet solved, resting quietly at the threshold between the known and the unknown. The Antikythera mechanism. From the quiet depths of the Aegean Sea, a strange relic emerged, one not etched in stone or cast in legend, but built with gears and metal, its mystery bound not in myth, but in mechanics. In 1901, sponge divers near the Greek island of Antikythera stumbled upon the scattered remains of a shipwreck buried beneath centuries of ocean silt. Among the cargo, tangled in time and corrosion, lay a fragment of bronze, weathered, broken, and unassuming. No one could have imagined that this corroded object would one day be hailed as one of the most perplexing and astonishing technological discoveries of the ancient world. What they had found would come to be known as the Antikythera mechanism. At first, it appeared as nothing more than a rusted cluster of bronze and wood, but closer study revealed something far more intricate, a hidden complexity nestled within the fragments. Interlocking gears, precise gear teeth, and engraved inscriptions slowly came to light. Over time, researchers began to understand this was no ordinary relic. It was a machine. Not just any machine, but an ancient analog computer. Crafted around 100 BCE, the Antikythera mechanism was designed to predict celestial events with astonishing accuracy. Housed in a wooden box, no larger than a shoebox, it contained more than 30 finely calibrated bronze gears, their teeth so precisely cut that even modern instruments would struggle to replicate them without difficulty. This device could track the movements of the sun and moon, chart the positions of the known planets, predict eclipses, and even calculate the timing of the ancient Olympic Games. It mirrored the cosmos in mechanical form, rendering the heavens into gears, levers, and rotating dials. And yet, its very existence raises more questions than it answers. How did such advanced knowledge emerge in the ancient world, over 1,000 years before similar mechanisms would appear in Europe? Was this the work of an exceptional mind, a lone genius lost to time? Or was it part of a broader tradition, an entire lineage of mechanical knowledge and engineering that has been wiped from the pages of history? No other device like it has ever been found. Some believe it may have served sailors and navigators, allowing them to track time and stars while guiding their ships across the Mediterranean. Others suggest it was far more than a calendar or star chart, that it may have encoded a deeper understanding of the relationship between space, time, and humanity's place in the cosmos. But perhaps the greatest mystery lies not in what the device did, but in where it came from. Its precision, its design, these things seem almost misplaced in time. Could the Antikythera mechanism be a surviving relic of knowledge handed down from a forgotten civilization? One whose technological brilliance vanished without a trace? Or is it the last artifact of an ancient golden age of scientific exploration, an era lost beneath centuries of war, collapse, and silence? There are whispers of older civilizations, vanished cultures that may have passed down their wisdom in fragile chains, each link eventually broken by time. Could this device be their echo, caught in bronze, discovered by chance? Even today, after decades of study and reconstruction, the mechanism holds tight to many of its secrets. Inscriptions remain untranslated, gears remain incomplete, and its true origin, its inventor, its purpose, remains hidden, just out of reach. Was it a singular invention? Or was it part of something much larger, a vast and forgotten world of ancient knowledge? The Antikythera mechanism does not speak. It turns no more. Yet it continues to whisper through its silent, interlocked gears, echoing a brilliance we are only beginning to comprehend. And as its mystery turns ever so slowly in our minds, one truth becomes clear. Some knowledge is not lost. It waits. The Dropa stones. In the stillness of remote, windswept mountains, far from the cities and lights of the modern world, an ancient riddle lies quietly buried beneath layers of earth and time. High in the Bayan-Karaula range, nestled along the border between China and Tibet, a discovery was made in the 1930s that continues to stir curiosity, skepticism, and awe. It was not a grand temple, nor a golden treasure, but something smaller, stranger, something quietly powerful. They are known as the Dropa stones, circular discs, no larger than a dinner plate, worn with age, rough to the touch, and seemingly simple. At first glance, they appear as ordinary relics of the distant past, but upon closer inspection, they reveal a peculiar detail: spiral grooves carved meticulously across their surface, winding inward toward a central point, like a message frozen in time. The story begins with an archaeological expedition led by a man named Dr. Chipu Te, who in 1938 uncovered these mysterious objects within a series of caves deep in the mountains. Alongside skeletal remains of unusually small stature, these stones were recovered from hidden tombs carved into the rock. The grooves etched onto each disc immediately raised questions. They didn't resemble any known language. They didn't match any cultural style from nearby regions. Some researchers speculated the carvings were decorative. Others weren't so sure. Local legends told of a strange people called the Dropa, beings said to have come from the sky, whose craft had crash-landed in the mountains thousands of years ago. The stones, according to some interpretations, were not tools or ornaments, but records, messages, perhaps even a map pointing to the stars. As the decades passed, the mystery deepened. Some claimed the spiral markings could represent a form of proto-writing, an early language not yet recognized by modern linguists. Others suggested something even more startling, that the grooves mirrored the logic of binary code. A message crafted not in words, but in data. Echoes of technology more advanced than anything the region was thought to possess. There were other oddities. The stones were reportedly made not from common rock, but a form of hard stone fused with traces of metallic elements, an alloy unfamiliar to the surrounding geography. Their polished surfaces hinted at techniques far beyond the capacity of any known ancient culture from the area. Were they remnants of a forgotten civilization? Artifacts left behind by star travelers? Or perhaps a misunderstood legacy of people far more advanced than history remembers? Mainstream historians have largely dismissed the story. Many claim the Dropa stones are either a hoax, a misinterpretation of natural formations, or a distorted retelling of local myths. Skeptics point out that no universally accepted academic studies have verified the stone's existence as described. Some even doubt whether the 1938 expedition ever occurred in the way it was later reported. And yet, the mystery endures. If the stones were nothing more than legend, why have so many similar stories emerged from different corners of the world? Stories of beings from the stars, of lost visitors, of ancient knowledge hidden in plain sight. Today, the Dropa stones, if they still exist, are said to be held in private collections, out of the public eye, inaccessible, and unreadable. Their spiral inscriptions remain undeciphered. Their meaning remains locked away. We are left only to wonder, were they the voice of an ancient culture lost to time? A silent archive from a forgotten chapter of Earth's history? Or were they something else entirely? A whisper from a world far beyond our own? In the thin mountain air, where legends breathe with the wind, perhaps the answer still lingers, waiting. And as the silence deepens in the caves of Bayankara Ula, the Dropa stones continue to sleep, their secrets spinning in quiet circles, waiting for the right eyes and the right moment to be understood. The Saqqara bird. Amid the shifting sands of time and dust of forgotten tombs, some mysteries come not in grand monuments or massive ruins, but in objects so small, so delicate, that their true significance is almost overlooked. One such artifact lies at the heart of an enduring enigma. A wooden figure, carved with care over 2,000 years ago, resting in silence, yet echoing a question that continues to stir both wonder and debate. It is known as the Saqqara bird. Discovered in 1898 within the ancient necropolis of Saqqara, just south of Cairo, this curious object was unearthed from a tomb dating to Egypt's Middle Kingdom. At first, it seemed little more than a charming model. Its shape reminiscent of a bird mid-flight, wings stretched wide, beak pointed forward. Small, no larger than a hand. Crafted from sycamore wood, with faded traces of gold leaf, it was cataloged as an ornamental piece, possibly a toy or religious offering. But it didn't remain a simple trinket for long. As scholars and engineers began to look more closely, a different kind of intrigue took hold. There were features on the figure that didn't align with traditional Egyptian bird representations. Most notably, two small, carefully placed holes at its base. Not random, not decorative, but seemingly functional. Whispers of possibility began to ripple through the academic world. Was this more than art? Could it be technology? Some began to speculate. What if the Saqqara bird wasn't just symbolic? What if it was a model, an ancient prototype meant to test principles of flight? Engineers, inspired by the bird's form, created replicas. When launched from height, these models glided through the air, not like falling objects, but with motion that eerily resembled that of an aircraft. The wings, the body, even the tail. Each seemed to reflect an intuitive understanding of aerodynamics. Could the ancient Egyptians have grasped concepts of lift and airflow long before the Wright brothers ever dreamed of flight? To mainstream scholars, this idea stretches belief. The standard explanation frames the Saqqara bird as a ceremonial object, a spiritual symbol perhaps, inspired by the Egyptian reverence for birds as messengers of the gods and guides of the soul into the afterlife. In their myths, flight was divine, a passage between worlds. The falcon-headed god Horus soared through heaven, and the soul, or Ba, was often depicted as a bird with a human head. Perhaps, they argue, the Saqqara bird was made to represent that sacred flight. And yet, the shape still confounds. It lacks legs, odd for a bird model. Its tail is vertical, more like a modern plane's rudder than any known species of bird. And then, there's the precision of its wings. For something dismissed as symbolic, its form is curiously exact. Could it have been more than metaphor? Might it have served a forgotten function, or represented a lost tradition of experimentation with flight, one erased by time, sand, and silence? There are no hieroglyphs explaining its purpose, no blueprints, no records of similar devices. Just this one, lonely artifact, enigmatic, suspended in time. Skeptics insist it's an imaginative rendering of a bird, nothing more. A misinterpretation, fueled by modern fascination. But believers in ancient innovation see something else. A relic from an age where skybound dreams may have stirred minds just as deeply as they do today. And so, the debate continues. Was the Saqqara bird a spiritual symbol? A child's toy? Or something far more astonishing? Evidence that our ancestors might have understood principles we assumed were modern? It now rests quietly in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, wings forever outstretched, as if waiting for the wind to lift it once more. As visitors pass by, many glance without seeing. But for those who pause, who wonder, the question remains suspended, like the bird itself. Could the past have known the sky better than we think? And if so, what other ancient dreams still lie buried, just waiting for us to rediscover them? The Baghdad Battery. As we shift our gaze eastward, we find ourselves drawn to an object both humble in appearance and staggering in implication. An artifact that has quietly challenged everything we thought we knew about ancient science. It was 1938 when archaeologist Wilhelm Koenig unearthed something curious just outside the city of Baghdad, in what is now modern-day Iraq. At first glance, it seemed ordinary, a small clay jar, not unlike the many ancient containers commonly found in archaeological digs. But this one held a secret. Inside the jar, nestled within its ceramic walls, lay a copper cylinder, an iron rod, and what appeared to be a cork or bitumen stopper. On their own, these items might seem meaningless. Together, however, they hinted at something astonishing. This unlikely assembly would come to be known as the Baghdad Battery. Initially dismissed as a mere container or ceremonial object, further study revealed something far more compelling. When the jar was filled with an acidic liquid, perhaps vinegar, lemon juice, or wine, the combination of copper and iron could generate a weak electrical current. In effect, it operated as a primitive battery, one that may have sparked to life more than 2,000 years before the invention of the modern battery by Alessandro Volta in the 18th century. This revelation begged an irresistible question. Why would an ancient culture need a battery? What could they have been powering with this early form of electricity? Some scholars have suggested the device may have been used for electroplating, a technique for coating objects in thin layers of gold or silver. perhaps to adorn religious icons or ceremonial artifacts. Others believe it could have played a role in spiritual or ritual practices, used to create mild shocks that were interpreted as divine power, or perhaps to induce trance-like states during sacred rites. And then there are theories that drift deeper into the mysterious. Could this have been part of an unknown medical practice, used to cauterize wounds or stimulate nerves? Or even more boldly, was it a power source for a device we have yet to understand? One that belonged to a civilization whose scientific achievements have been lost to time? If the Baghdad battery truly functioned as an energy source, why does no record of its use exist? Why didn't this knowledge spread or evolve into a broader technology? Could it be that the secret of electricity was known long ago, only to be forgotten, buried under centuries of upheaval, war, or deliberate concealment? Skeptics argue that it may have been a fluke, an isolated case of scientific curiosity never developed further. Others insist it hints at a larger lost body of knowledge, a technological past erased from history, either by accident or design. Today, the Baghdad battery sits quietly in a museum, no longer capable of producing light or power. But its mystery endures. A simple jar that may have once held the power of innovation now holds only questions. What if this was just one piece of a larger, hidden puzzle? What if ancient civilizations had uncovered secrets we've only begun to rediscover? The Baghdad battery whispers of forgotten ingenuity, lost time, and knowledge that remains tantalizingly out of reach. And as we leave behind this curious artifact, it leaves us with the humbling realization that the ancient world still holds many secrets, waiting, perhaps, for just the right spark to bring them back to life. The Dendera Light. Deep in the land of the pharaohs, nestled within the ancient temple of Hathor in Dendera, lies a curiosity that has stirred wonder, debate, and disbelief for decades. Among the carvings etched into the stone walls of this sacred site is one depiction that stands apart, not for what it shows about the divine, but for what it might reveal about lost knowledge, or perhaps something even stranger. This is the mystery of the Dendera Light. At first glance, it's just another ancient relief, beautiful, intricate, and brimming with symbolism. But upon closer inspection, this particular carving seems to transcend its time. It depicts what many describe as an object uncannily similar to a modern-day light bulb. An elongated, bulbous shape stretches across the stone, supported by two human figures, as if they are reverently presenting or powering the device. Inside the structure is a serpent-like figure, coiled along the inner axis, while a thick cord or cable-like shape appears to connect the bulb to a pedestal or energy source. It is unlike anything else in the temple, and unlike anything we'd expect from an ancient civilization said to rely on oil lamps and torches. Mainstream archaeologists and Egyptologists offer a more conventional interpretation. They argue that the carving is purely symbolic, perhaps representing the lotus flower, the emergence of the sun, or the primordial serpent of creation. To them, the image is simply a spiritual metaphor, a cosmic light, not a technological one. The glowing shape, they suggest, might signify divine energy or rebirth, not electricity. But not everyone is convinced. To many alternative researchers and engineers, the resemblance to an electrical light bulb is simply too close to dismiss. Some have proposed that the image is more than a mythological symbol. It could be a representation of ancient electrical technology, possibly similar to early arc lamps or cathode ray tubes. Could the Egyptians have possessed a form of lighting lost to time? Could this have been a functional device, illuminating the inner sanctums of temples without the need for open flames or soot-stained ceilings? The idea may sound outlandish, but consider this. There are no traces of soot or burn marks in some deep interior chambers of ancient Egyptian temples, spaces where torches should have left their mark. How, then, were these places lit? Could the Dendera light offer a clue? Even more speculative theories suggest that this was not the work of dynastic Egyptians at all, but the legacy of a far older, advanced civilization, one whose technologies have been forgotten or buried beneath the sands of history. Perhaps the Dendera carving is a remnant, a symbol passed down from a civilization with a deeper understanding of physics, energy, and light. Yet, as compelling as the theory may be, it remains, like so many ancient enigmas, unproven. No physical device matching the Dendera light has ever been discovered. No texts or inscriptions describe the use of electricity or lamps powered by anything other than flame. And so, we're left with a carving, silent, unchanging, and open to interpretation. Is it spiritual art, celebrating the divine light that guides the soul? Or is it technological evidence, a coded message from a forgotten world of innovation? The truth lies hidden within the stone, silent, motionless, and teasingly incomplete. As visitors to the Temple of Hathor walk beneath the ceiling where the Dendera light is etched, they may gaze up with curiosity or skepticism. But all who look upon it carry the same question. Did the ancients know more than we think? Or are we simply seeing what we want to see in the shadows of the past? And as the light of day fades from those sacred walls, the Dendera light continues to flicker, not with electricity, but with the endless spark of mystery. The Ubaid lizard men. Figurines. Far from the grand monuments of Egypt and the towering ziggurats of Mesopotamia lies a quieter, lesser-known corner of ancient history, one that may hold secrets stranger than any myth or legend. In the dusty plains of southern Iraq, near the site of the ancient settlement of Ubaid, archaeologists uncovered a mystery that still resists explanation. A series of small, unsettling figurines, artifacts not of gods or kings, but of something different. These are the Ubaid lizardmen figurines, and they are unlike anything else from the ancient world. Discovered in the early 20th century during excavations of the Ubaid culture, these figurines immediately stood out from typical artifacts of the time. At first glance, they seem humanoid, carved figures standing or seated, some even holding what appear to be infants. But a closer look reveals a chilling truth. These are not depictions of humans. Their faces are long and angular. Their heads are shaped like those of lizards. Large, almond-shaped eyes dominate their faces. Their limbs are thin, elongated, almost skeletal. They stare forward with an expression that feels uncomfortably lifelike. These figurines date back over 7,000 years, to a time long before the rise of the Sumerians, before writing, before the great cities of Mesopotamia. The Ubaid people who created them were advanced for their time, skilled in farming, pottery, and social organization. Yet they left behind no known written records, just their homes, their tools, and these strange beings carved from clay. What do they represent? Mainstream archaeologists offer measured explanations. Perhaps these were stylized representations of deities, early gods linked to fertility or spiritual vision. Some believe the large eyes could symbolize a connection to higher realms, or a heightened perception of the world, traits often associated with the divine. In this view, the reptilian features are artistic flourishes, not meant to be taken literally. But others see something different, something far more mysterious. To some, these lizard-like figures are too distinct, too unusual to be dismissed as stylized humans. Could they represent encounters with non-human entities? Were the Ubaid people influenced by something or someone not of this world? This is where alternative theories begin to emerge. One idea suggests the figurines may reflect ancient contact with extraterrestrial visitors, an echo of the ancient astronaut hypothesis, which proposes that early civilizations were shaped, at least in part, by beings from other worlds. To supporters of this theory, the lizard-like features are not metaphors, but memories, cultural impressions of beings who were once physically present. Others take a different route entirely. They propose the figurines are relics of a forgotten race of reptilian humanoids, perhaps even native to Earth, their history now lost beneath layers of time. Could these beings have lived alongside early humans? Could their existence have faded from memory, leaving only these carved images as evidence? And yet, there is no physical proof to support these extraordinary ideas. No bones, no tools, no writing. Just the figurines themselves, quietly guarding their mystery. Without written records or additional artifacts to explain their purpose, the meaning behind the Ubaid lizardmen remains entirely speculative. Were they gods? Guardians? Something else entirely? Why were they depicted so clearly with reptilian traits, when no other artifacts of the time reflect similar imagery? Perhaps these figures were religious icons, meant to bridge the world of the living with the divine. Perhaps they are echoes of a long-lost mythos, too old for even the Sumerians to remember. Or, perhaps, they are memories carved in clay, left behind by a culture that saw something we no longer understand. As these figurines now rest behind glass, frozen in posture but alive in mystery, they continue to whisper to us from the ancient world. And though we cannot yet translate their message, they invite us to ask the question that lingers in the shadows of all great mysteries. What if the truth is far stranger than we ever imagined? And so, the Ubaid lizardmen remain, not just as relics, but as silent sentinels of forgotten possibilities, waiting patiently for someone to rediscover what they truly were. The London Hammer, a mystery, lost in time. From the depths of history, a strange and puzzling relic emerges, not buried beneath the earth, but encased within it, locked inside layers far older than anyone ever imagined. This is the story of the London Hammer, an artifact discovered in a way that defies everything we think we know about our past. It was the summer of 1934 in London, Texas, when a couple out exploring a quiet creek bed near their home stumbled upon something extraordinary. While casually collecting rocks, they noticed an unusual object trapped inside a chunk of limestone partially buried beneath the surface. At first glance, it seemed like just an oddly shaped stone. But a closer look revealed something astonishing. A wooden hammer, remarkably well preserved despite the odds. Unlike any hammer you'd expect to find, this tool had a wooden handle, which had weathered and partially decayed over time, but an iron head that remained sharp and intact. What truly baffled scientists and local experts was not just the hammer's condition, but where it was found. Embedded deep within Cambrian rock, estimated to be more than 500 million years old. Think about that for a moment. 500 million years ago, long before any human civilization had ever existed, a metal tool was locked inside stone that predates even the dinosaurs. How could such a thing be possible? Mainstream science quickly offered explanations, suggesting the hammer might be a modern object that somehow slipped into the rock formation through natural causes, erosion, shifting layers, or human activity. This is known as the theory of intrusive artifacts. But this theory raises more questions than answers. How did the hammer survive so perfectly, with its iron head showing almost no rust or corrosion, despite supposedly being buried for millions of years? The craftsmanship of the wooden handle only adds to the mystery. It reveals a level of skill far beyond what we'd expect from primitive tools in the Cambrian period. The wood matches types historically used in tool-making, not something ancient life forms from hundreds of millions of years ago would have fashioned. Could this hammer be the remnant of a lost civilization, wiped from history by some cataclysm we can only guess at? And then the speculation deepens. Some propose the hammer wasn't made by humans at all, but by extraterrestrials. Could this be evidence of advanced beings visiting Earth long before we ever dreamed? Others imagine a hidden, advanced civilization, one predating even the dinosaurs, whose stories were erased by time itself. Though these ideas remain firmly in the realm of speculation, the hammer stands as one of the most provocative and debated finds in anomalous archaeology. Why is it found in rock so ancient? What culture, if any, could have created such a tool? And why does its condition defy all expectations for something supposedly so old? Today, the London hammer rests quietly in a local museum. Its simple yet sturdy form silently challenging our understanding of history, time, and the forces that shaped our world. It's a solitary witness to mysteries buried beneath the Earth's layers, one of countless artifacts waiting to rewrite the story of human existence. What else might be hidden beneath our feet, waiting to be uncovered? The London hammer reminds us that sometimes the most ordinary objects can hold the most extraordinary secrets. And so, the hammer remains, a timeless enigma calling us to look deeper, question more boldly, and imagine the impossible. The Voynich manuscript, the unbreakable code from the past. Another extraordinary enigma unfolds, not carved in stone or etched in clay, but delicately penned on fragile pages, inked with a script that no one has ever been able to read. This is the mystery of the Voynich manuscript, a baffling book that has haunted scholars, linguists, and cryptographers for centuries. Discovered in the early 20th century, this rare manuscript first surfaced in the quiet, dusty halls of a private library, named after Wilfrid Voynich, the antiquarian who purchased it in 1912. The manuscript's origins stretch far deeper into history, with radiocarbon dating placing its creation somewhere around the early 1400s, possibly even earlier. The book itself is modest in size, about 240 hand-bound pages, but what it holds inside is anything but ordinary. Its pages burst with vibrant, otherworldly illustrations, strange plants that seem to grow from fantasy, elaborate astronomical charts unlike anything known, and curious human figures caught in mysterious activities. Every page is densely covered with an indecipherable script, glyphs and symbols that defy classification in any known language or code. No one knows who wrote it, when exactly it was written, or why. Theories abound. Was it the work of an alchemist, a secretive scholar, or a scribe tasked with preserving hidden knowledge? And more importantly, what was its purpose? What truly mystifies isn't just the text, but the images themselves. The botanical drawings portray plants that have never been identified on Earth, blends of real and imagined species, bizarre hybrids that challenge what we know about nature. These plants look like they could belong to another world, or a lost garden of forgotten flora. Then, there are the celestial diagrams, maps of stars, the sun, and the moon, but arranged in ways that don't correspond to any known astronomical system. These strange alignments hint at knowledge that we either don't understand or have never seen before. Adding to the intrigue, the manuscript depicts human figures engaged in curious rituals, bathing in pools surrounded by cryptic symbols, interacting with what seem to be strange machines. The whole book feels like a portal to a world of lost meanings and hidden wisdom, Over decades, countless experts have tried to unlock the manuscript's secrets. Some believe it's written in a constructed language, perhaps created for a secret society or used in mystical rites. Others suspect it might be the work of a single genius who deliberately designed the text to confuse and baffle anyone who tried to read it. More speculative theories stretch beyond Earth, suggesting the manuscript might be of extraterrestrial origin, a message left for us to discover and decode. Could it be a cosmic key to knowledge far beyond our current understanding? Despite all the effort, the Voynich manuscript remains stubbornly unreadable. It has resisted attempts at decryption, using everything from traditional cryptographic techniques to modern artificial intelligence. Its language refuses to match any known script, ancient or modern, and its symbols stand apart from all known writings. The real mystery is not just what the manuscript says, but why it was created at all. Why hide such a complex document? Why preserve it through centuries, keeping its secrets locked tight? And above all, what truths might it hold if ever decoded? Now resting quietly in the vaults of Yale University Library, the Voynich manuscript is a silent challenge to all who dare to listen. Is it a lost map to hidden wisdom, an ancient code guarding forgotten knowledge, or simply an elaborate riddle designed never to be solved? Perhaps one day, someone will finally unlock its secrets and change everything we think we know about language, history, and the boundaries of human knowledge. Until then, the Voynich manuscript remains an unsolved puzzle, an immortal enigma, beckoning us from the shadows of the past. The Shugborough inscription, a silent stone mystery. Now, we turn our gaze to another baffling enigma, not carved on a disc, but etched into the very stone of an ancient gatehouse nestled in the peaceful English countryside. Amidst the serene grounds of Shugborough Hall stands a cryptic inscription, its meaning as elusive and mysterious as the history surrounding it. This puzzling sequence of letters and symbols is engraved on a monumental archway, part of the grand estate's 18th century design. The arch, made of marble, bears a seemingly random string of characters: O, U, O, S, V, A, V, a jumble with no obvious meaning. Beneath these strange letters lies a larger, captivating image known as the Shepherd's Monument. It depicts a man holding a staff, surrounded by a host of mysterious symbols, each inviting interpretation but yielding none. At first glance, one might dismiss it as a decorative or commemorative carving, perhaps a symbol tied to local history or a personal message from the estate's owners. Yet the absence of clear context and the cryptic nature of the symbols have left historians, code breakers, and enthusiasts scratching their heads for centuries. Mainstream explanations suggest the letters could represent a family motto or a private reference linked to the Anson family who commissioned the monument. Some propose the inscription is a coded message, a puzzle deliberately designed to conceal meaning, accessible only to those in the know. The pastoral imagery of the Shepherd's Monument itself is sometimes interpreted as a nod to an old poem, the Shepherd's Song, or perhaps a symbol of guidance, protection, or faith. But the mystery deepens when we explore theories beyond the surface. Could this inscription be more than a family secret or poetic tribute? Some researchers propose that the Shugborough inscription is a hidden clue to the legendary Holy Grail, drawing tantalizing connections to stories like the Da Vinci Code and the whispered lore of secret societies guarding ancient, sacred knowledge. According to this daring theory, the mysterious symbols could be a coded message left behind by the Knights Templar or other medieval orders, cryptic hints pointing to the Grail's hidden location. Others suggest the inscription is part of an even grander alchemical puzzle, meant to reveal long-lost knowledge, secret practices, or spiritual truths accessible only to the initiated few. These captivating ideas paint the inscription as a key to a suppressed history, one blending science, mysticism, and secret wisdom hidden beneath the surface of our known past. Yet despite decades of speculation and attempts at deciphering, the true meaning of the Shugborough inscription remains stubbornly unresolved. No definitive explanation has emerged, and without corroborating evidence, the mystery lingers in the shadows of ambiguity. Was this inscription merely a decorative flourish, or was it an intentional coded message crafted to endure through the centuries, waiting patiently for someone with the right insight to unlock its secrets? As the stone quietly stands sentinel over the estate, it beckons us with silent questions. What hidden stories lie locked within these enigmatic symbols? Who left them behind, and why? The Shugborough inscription remains an alluring puzzle, one that leaves us with more questions than answers, its true purpose still cloaked in uncertainty. The Rohank Codex, Europe's mysterious manuscript of secrets. From the heart of Central Europe comes a baffling relic that has puzzled scholars for nearly 2 centuries, the Rohank Codex. Discovered in 1838 amid the rolling hills of Hungary by the scholar Károly Jamboki, this small leather-bound book hides a world of mystery within its fragile pages. Unlike many ancient texts whose origins are well documented, the Rohank Codex remains cloaked in shadows, its beginnings unknown, yet its allure undiminished. What sets the Rohank Codex apart is not just its indecipherable script, but its extraordinary blend of bizarre, detailed illustrations and a writing system utterly unique, unlike anything recorded before or since. While the famous Voynich manuscript draws attention primarily for its mysterious language, the Rohank Codex enchants with its vivid, enigmatic imagery paired with an uncrackable text. At first glance, the pages burst with complexity. The codex is filled with meticulous drawings of animals, human figures, and symbolic scenes. Some images evoke medieval European traditions, while others seem to whisper of distant, unfamiliar worlds. Ritualistic ceremonies unfold on the parchment, battles rage, and mythological creatures roam the margins, each image raising more questions than it answers. But it is the script that truly defies logic. The text is composed of an array of strange symbols and glyphs, some reminiscent of ancient runes, others clearly invented, woven together in a manner that resists every attempt at understanding. For decades, linguists, historians, and cryptographers have tried to decode its secrets, but the symbols refuse to reveal any clear meaning or link to known languages, ancient or modern. The text shows no recognizable patterns of grammar or syntax, leaving experts to speculate wildly about its origins. Some suggest the codex was the work of a secretive religious sect or isolated community, perhaps from the medieval era, using an invented language as a coded form of communication. Others believe it may have been crafted as an artistic or ritualistic work, created by an individual or group for reasons now lost to history. Then there are the more daring, fringe theories. Could the Rohank Codex be a vestige of a forgotten civilization, an echo of a culture wiped out before its knowledge could be passed down? Or perhaps the symbols represent something far beyond human origin, an alien communication left behind as a message for humanity to one day decipher. The surreal quality of the illustrations, otherworldly creatures, strange ceremonies, and cryptic scenes only fuels these speculations. Modern-day scientists, including cryptographers armed with computers and AI, continue to grapple with the Codex's mysteries, yet it remains stubbornly silent. Skeptics argue it might simply be a medieval hoax, a clever forgery or artistic invention designed to confuse or intimidate its viewers. Yet others hold on to hope. believing that somewhere beneath the tangle of symbols lies a profound message or hidden knowledge awaiting discovery. Today, the Rohank Codex rests quietly in the archives of the Hungarian Academy of Sciences, its secrets tightly guarded within its ancient pages. As we gaze upon this enigmatic book, the questions echo louder than ever. Is this more than an obscure artifact of a forgotten time? Could it be a key unlocking a vast, unknown chapter of history or knowledge sealed away for reasons lost in the mists of time? Or is it simply an elaborate puzzle, the creation of minds as mysterious as the symbols they left behind? In the quiet corners of libraries and archives, the Rohank Codex waits patiently, whispering its secrets to those willing to listen, secrets that humanity has not yet learned to hear. And as it rests in the shadows of history, its unreadable script stands as a haunting testament to knowledge lost and the mysteries that still lie just beyond our grasp. The Rongorongo script of Easter Island, an unsolved enigma from the Pacific. Now we journey far from the rolling hills of England to a remote speck in the vast Pacific Ocean, Easter Island, or Rapa Nui, as the islanders call it. This isolated land of striking beauty is home to the monumental Moai statues, silent stone giants that gaze eternally across the ocean. These mysterious figures are a tribute to the incredible skill and spirit of the island's ancient people. Yet beneath the towering Moai lies a far more subtle enigma, one etched not in stone, but carved carefully into wooden tablets, an enigma known as the Rongorongo script. In the mid-19th century, European explorers uncovered several of these wooden tablets made from the wood of the Toromiro tree. Each tablet was intricately carved with rows of symbols, some resembling pictographs, others abstract glyphs, all arranged with an artistic precision that hints at deep meaning. These carvings, the Rongorongo script, seem to be a form of written language, but no one has ever succeeded in fully decoding their secrets. Unlike the scripts of ancient civilizations like Egypt or Mesopotamia, which were eventually cracked through keys such as the Rosetta Stone, Rongorongo remains stubbornly indecipherable. By the time Europeans first set foot on Easter Island in the 18th century, the knowledge of how to read these symbols had already vanished from living memory. The language of Rongorongo was lost, leaving behind only these silent tablets as evidence of a forgotten literacy. Many scholars believe the script may have served ritualistic or ceremonial purposes, perhaps preserving oral traditions through encoded chants and genealogies. Others speculate that the tablets recorded significant events, detailed histories, or even the movements and placements of the Moai statues themselves, each with spiritual or cultural significance. But why did this remote island develop such a unique writing system when most of the world's societies at the time relied solely on oral storytelling? And why did the knowledge of this script disappear so completely, even among the island's descendants? Some mainstream theories suggest that Rongorongo was a sophisticated mnemonic device designed to aid memory in preserving complex oral traditions. Yet this explanation falls short of clarifying why the script structure is so elaborate, or why only a small number of tablets exist, never spreading widely across the island. More speculative ideas push the boundaries further. Some propose that Rongorongo was a form of sacred knowledge, perhaps a coded record of the island's creation myths, celestial movements, or spiritual beliefs. Others go as far as to suggest the script might be an alien communication, messages inscribed by extraterrestrial visitors who influenced the ancient world. Despite intense efforts by linguists, cryptographers, and historians, no definitive interpretation has emerged. No bilingual inscriptions or Rosetta Stones exist to guide researchers, leaving each tablet's symbols locked in eternal silence. What was the true purpose behind Rongorongo? Was it simply a tool for communication? Or does it hold profound spiritual or historical significance? Could it reveal hidden chapters of human knowledge now lost to time? As the winds whisper across Easter Island's quiet shores, the Rongorongo tablets lie still, their glyphs frozen in time, a riddle suspended between history and mystery. What secrets are etched within those silent symbols? And is the key to unlocking them lost forever, or merely waiting for the right mind to uncover it once more? And as the Rongorongo script keeps its ancient silence on this remote island, another mystery stirs beneath the earth, waiting patiently to be discovered. The Fuente Magna Bowl, an ancient puzzle from the Andes. From the depths of history, another enigmatic relic calls out to us, a simple yet profoundly significant artifact that challenges not only our understanding of the past, but the very roots of human civilization itself. High in the Bolivian highlands, near the shimmering waters of Lake Titicaca, an extraordinary discovery was made in the 1950s, the Fuente Magna Bowl. This modest ceramic bowl, about 30 centimeters in diameter, immediately caught attention, not for its craftsmanship, which was remarkable but not unprecedented, but for the curious script etched into its surface. The symbols carved along the bowl's rim are unmistakably Sumerian cuneiform, one of the world's earliest known writing systems, developed by the ancient Sumerians of Mesopotamia around 3000 BCE. Yet here is the puzzle. The Fuente Magna Bowl was found thousands of miles away, deep in South America, far from the ancient cradle of Sumer. How could such a script, born in the fertile crescent of the Old World, appear on an artifact discovered in the heart of the Andes? Mainstream scholars approach this mystery with caution. The bowl is believed to date from the Tiwanaku culture, which flourished near Lake Titicaca around 1000 BCE, long after Sumerian civilization had reached its height and faded. One popular theory suggests the bowl might have been a ceremonial or trade item, passed between far-flung cultures as a precious object of exchange. Could the Tiwanaku people have had contact, directly or indirectly, with Sumerian or Near Eastern civilizations? So far, no concrete evidence supports this, yet the intrigue only deepens. Upon closer examination, experts notice that the inscriptions on the bowl include not only classical Sumerian cuneiform, but also older Proto-Sumerian signs, symbols predating even the Sumerians themselves. This discovery opens the door to even more astonishing possibilities. Was there an ancient, forgotten link between the Old World and the Americas? One that rewrites the accepted story of human history? Some researchers propose that the Fuente Magna Bowl is a surviving relic of a lost civilization, one capable of long-distance ocean voyages and cross-cultural connections that conventional history denies. Could ancient peoples from the Andes have reached out to civilizations in the Near East, or vice versa, well before such journeys were thought achievable? Others speculate that the Tiwanaku culture may have adopted and adapted these symbols, crafting their own version of cuneiform for sacred or ceremonial purposes, much like other ancient societies borrowed foreign signs for local use. And there are more speculative ideas still. Some suggest the bowl provides evidence of pre-Columbian transoceanic contact, voyages by seafarers from Mesopotamia or beyond, leaving traces of their presence and knowledge behind. Whatever the truth, the Fuente Magna Bowl raises profound questions about the flow of culture and knowledge in the ancient world. Were civilizations truly isolated islands? Or were the seas highways linking distant peoples in ways we have yet to fully understand? Today, the bowl rests quietly in a museum, its inscriptions still holding their secrets. As we gaze upon this artifact, we are left to wonder, was it simply a traded curiosity, a symbol of cultural exchange, or a key to a far older, far more interconnected chapter of human history? What stories lie hidden beneath the surface of this ancient vessel, waiting patiently to be told? And so, as the Fuente Magna bowl whispers its cryptic tale from the Andean highlands, we are reminded that history is often more mysterious than it seems, and some secrets endure, waiting for those brave enough to seek them. The Phaistos Disc, an enigma from Crete. Now we journey to the sun-drenched island of Crete, where over a century ago, archaeologists uncovered a small but profoundly mysterious artifact that has confounded scholars ever since: the Phaistos Disc. In 1908, while excavating the ancient Minoan palace of Phaistos, Italian archaeologist Luigi Pernier uncovered a circular tablet unlike anything seen before. This disc, crafted from fired clay and measuring a mere 15 centimeters across, is covered on both sides by spiraling rows of symbols, 45 unique characters arranged with a precision that hints at an intelligent design. The symbols are striking, intricate, deliberate, and unlike any known writing system. They bear no resemblance to the scripts of ancient Greece, Egypt, or Mesopotamia. Yet their careful organization and repetition suggest they form a meaningful language or code, crafted with a specific purpose in mind. What makes the Phaistos disc even more fascinating is the method of its creation. The impressions appear to have been stamped into the clay with seals, an ancient form of printing, indicating a remarkable level of craftsmanship and sophistication. Its smooth surface and the consistency of its engravings only add to its intrigue. Dating back to around 1700 BCE, the disc emerges from the heart of the Minoan civilization, a culture renowned for its art, trade, and complexity. But what the disc's symbols mean remains a mystery. Despite decades of study, and even the use of modern technology, such as radiocarbon dating and AI-driven linguistic analysis, the script remains undeciphered. Scholars have proposed a variety of theories. Some suggest the disc holds a religious or ceremonial text, a prayer, a hymn, or perhaps a calendar tied to the rhythms of nature or celestial events. The spiral pattern could symbolize cycles of the moon, the seasons, or agricultural rituals central to Minoan life. Others believe the disc might have been a game board, an educational tool, or a form of entertainment for the elite. But when we move beyond mainstream ideas, the theories grow even more speculative. Some propose the Phaistos disc could represent the language of a long-lost civilization, predating even the Minoans. Others have entertained the notion of extraterrestrial origins, that the disc is a message from beyond our world, encoded in a language meant for those capable of unlocking its secrets. Even more intriguingly, some think it may be a map, guiding the way to ancient temples, hidden cities, or places of immense power lost to time. Despite exhaustive research, the Phaistos disc remains an isolated artifact. No other object with matching symbols has ever been found. Its secrets are sealed tight, locked away in the clay and the sands of Crete. Could this mysterious disc be the key to unlocking a forgotten chapter of human history? A glimpse into a lost language, a vanished culture, or perhaps knowledge that transcends our understanding? Or is it simply the product of an ancient mind's imagination, a riddle designed to captivate and mystify us forever? As the Phaistos disc sits silently in a museum case, its symbols whisper in the silence, calling to those who dare to listen and wonder at the mysteries still hidden in the past. Unknown Man, E, the Screaming Mummy of Egypt. Now we turn to a profoundly different yet equally unsettling discovery, hidden deep within the sands of ancient Egypt, a land where echoes of the past seem to whisper secrets, some of which remain beyond our grasp. In 1907, near the famed tombs of the Valley of the Kings, Egyptologist James Quibell and his team unearthed a chilling find, a mummy unlike any other. Known today as Unknown Man, E, or more hauntingly, the Screaming Mummy. This preserved body tells a story of pain frozen in time. Unlike the serene, perfectly preserved faces of Egypt's royalty, this mummy's expression is one of sheer terror and agony. Its mouth is agape in what appears to be a scream, the eyes wide open, eternally caught in a silent cry of horror. It is as though this man met a violent and abrupt death, his final moments captured forever in his mummified visage. This body was discovered in a tomb initially believed to belong to close relatives of Pharaoh Tutankhamun. Yet this individual bore no royal insignia or identifying markers. The mummification itself was hurried and careless, a stark contrast to the meticulous embalming reserved for kings and nobles. His limbs were outstretched rather than the typical bent pose, almost as if in a desperate struggle to break free from death's grasp. Mainstream scholars suggest that Unknown Man E was likely a victim of violence, perhaps someone executed in the chaotic aftermath of political turmoil. Some speculate he could have been a criminal or a traitor to the royal family, buried hastily to erase his memory. But none of these explanations fully accounts for the raw, palpable fear etched into his face or the unusual nature of his burial. Another theory connects this tragic figure to the turbulent period following Pharaoh Akhenaten's controversial reign, a time rife with religious upheaval and unrest. Could Unknown Man E have died as part of a ritual sacrifice during this dark chapter in Egyptian history? More mysterious explanations explore the supernatural. Some believe the scream may symbolize the restless soul of a man denied peace in the afterlife, someone cursed, punished, or trapped by malevolent forces. Was this death more than physical? Was it a spiritual torment, a punishment for unspeakable deeds or dark rituals? And then there are the more fringe ideas. Could the contorted scream hint at contact with otherworldly beings? Some have speculated that this mummy's anguished expression is evidence of an ancient alien encounter or links to secret mystical rites lost to history. Despite the many theories, the simplest remains the most likely. Unknown Man. E died a violent death, and his mummified agony is a testament to the terror he endured. But even this leaves us with haunting questions. Why was his burial so rushed and unorthodox? What forces unleashed such a brutal end? And what secrets does his silent scream still guard? Today, the screaming mummy rests behind glass in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, a silent witness to an ancient tragedy. Its haunting expression continues to puzzle and provoke, echoing through the tombs of Egypt and whispering to all who dare to listen. The enigma of the Nazca mummies. Now, we journey to a remote and windswept desert in southern Peru, where the vast, arid expanse conceals one of archaeology's most puzzling enigmas. This is the Nazca Desert, famed worldwide for the mysterious Nazca lines, immense geoglyphs etched into the Earth's surface, symbols that have captivated imaginations for decades. Yet, beneath this dry landscape lies a different, equally compelling mystery: the Nazca mummies. First uncovered in the early 2000s in the coastal plains near the Nazca region, these mummified remains have sparked both fascination and controversy, challenging what we think we know about ancient cultures and their burial rites. Hidden deep within underground chambers, the mummies stand out not merely for their preservation, but for their extraordinary physical traits. Unlike typical mummies, wrapped carefully in cloth or treated with embalming substances, the Nazca mummies possess elongated skulls, some appearing intentionally reshaped during their lifetimes. Even more striking, many of these remains have 3 fingers on each hand and 3 toes on each foot, an anatomical oddity that has deepened the mystery surrounding their origin. Mainstream scholars generally attribute the mummies to the Nazca culture, a civilization flourishing from roughly 200 BCE to 600 CE, renowned for their stunning artistry and ritual complexity. It's believed that these bodies were naturally preserved by the desert's heat and dryness, much like other ancient remains found in similar environments. However, the unusual features, especially the extra digits, have left many experts puzzled. While elongated skulls might be explained by known practices of cranial deformation, a ritual seen in various ancient peoples worldwide, the existence of 3 fingers and toes defies straightforward explanation. Could these characteristics stem from rare genetic mutations, or were they deliberately altered as part of sacred rites or belief systems? Some propose these mummies were individuals of great importance, spiritual leaders or elite members of Nazca society, preserved with exceptional care to honor their status. Initially, many dismissed the findings as hoaxes or modern fabrications. But scientific testing, including DNA analysis, has confirmed these remains are authentically ancient humans, dating back over 1,000 years, though their anomalies raise more questions than answers. The discovery has fueled speculation beyond academic circles. Fringe theories abound, some claiming these beings represent extraterrestrial visitors, proof that aliens once walked the Earth and mingled with early civilizations. Proponents of the ancient astronaut hypothesis point to the elongated skulls and extra digits as evidence of hybridization or alien genetic intervention influencing human evolution. Others speculate the Nazca people might have possessed advanced genetic knowledge lost to time, engaging in experiments to create a distinct race with unique physical traits, perhaps for spiritual or ceremonial purposes. Were these mummies the result of ancient biotechnology far beyond what conventional history allows? Despite the allure of such extraordinary ideas, mainstream science remains cautious. The elongated skulls may indeed be cultural. The extra digits could be genetic anomalies, and the mummification methods reflect unique local traditions. Yet, the fundamental mysteries endure. Why were these bodies preserved so carefully? What was their role in Nazca society? And what truths remain hidden beneath the desert sands? Could the Nazca mummies be more than just remnants of the past? Might they hint at a forgotten lineage or a lost bridge between ancient peoples and forgotten wisdom? As these mummies rest silently in their desert tombs, their elongated heads and triple digits still await a full explanation. What secrets do they hold about the people who lived in the shadow of the Nazca lines? And what other mysteries remain buried beneath the endless, whispering sands? The enigmatic Tarim. Mummies, secrets buried in the desert sands. Let us journey now to a land at the junction of ancient worlds, where time's relentless march has concealed some of humanity's most baffling enigmas. In the vast, forbidding expanse of the Tarim Basin, located within present-day Xinjiang, China, archaeologists uncovered a collection of extraordinary mummified remains during the 20th century. These ancient bodies challenge everything we thought we knew about human migration and cultural evolution. The Tarim Basin, surrounded by towering mountain ranges and vast deserts, is one of the most inhospitable places on Earth. Yet it was here, along the northern fringe of the Taklamakan Desert, that a series of burial mounds revealed incredibly preserved corpses dating back between 2,000 and 3,000 years. The harsh, salty soil and arid climate acted as nature's own embalmer, preserving these individuals almost perfectly over millennia. What truly astonished researchers was not just the preservation, but the distinctly European appearance of these mummies. They bore striking Caucasoid features, fair skin, light-colored hair, and elongated physiques, completely unlike the typical characteristics of Central or East Asian populations. Among them, the famous Churchan man stands out, with his vivid red hair and piercing blue eyes, painting a picture of travelers from a faraway land who journeyed great distances to settle in this remote desert. These mummified figures were part of a larger, sophisticated culture, one that built well-organized settlements, traded extensively, and practiced burial rituals unlike those of neighboring peoples. Their finely woven wool garments, sometimes richly decorated, hint at a civilization advanced in both artistry and craftsmanship. Mainstream historians generally view the Tarim mummies as belonging to ancient Indo-European migrants who traversed the vast Eurasian steppes, moving eastward into the Tarim Basin. Trade routes, predecessors to the famed Silk Road, likely enabled these migrations and cultural exchanges over many centuries, blending diverse populations along the way. Yet this explanation only begins to unravel the mystery. How did these European-featured people come to rest in such an isolated and unforgiving landscape? Were they early pioneers who arrived long before the Han Chinese, or successive waves of migrants carrying their unique genetic legacy and customs across great distances? The intrigue deepens when we consider their elaborate burial customs. These mummies were placed in wooden coffins, carefully arranged in graves filled with rich artifacts, bronze tools, ceramics, and beautifully crafted textiles. Such findings indicate a society deeply invested in death rituals and beliefs about the afterlife. Among the grave goods were strange wooden figures and sacred objects, possibly linked to spiritual or shamanistic traditions, practices intended to assist the departed in their journey beyond this world and honor their status in the community. But why were their funerary rites so distinct? What spiritual heritage lay behind these practices? As is often the case with ancient mysteries, more speculative theories have emerged. Some propose the Tarim mummies represent the remnants of a lost civilization, one far more sophisticated than any other in the region, erased from history's records. Others suggest even stranger origins. Perhaps these people were linked to ancient extraterrestrial visitors, their unusual features hinting at contact beyond Earth. While lacking concrete proof, such ideas persist due to the mummies' unique physical traits and the challenge they pose to conventional historical narratives. The Tarim mummies, with their puzzling origins and distinctive burial practices, continue to captivate both experts and enthusiasts alike. What compelled these ancient travelers to brave such harsh deserts and remote mountains? How did they forge such an intricate culture? And what secrets did they carry with them? Though silent, these preserved souls still whisper the story of a lost chapter in human history. Their remains a testament to journeys long forgotten. Are they simply the ancestors of a vanished people? Or do they reveal something deeper? A profound mystery waiting to be uncovered beneath the shifting sands of the Tarim Basin? As we leave behind the enigmatic mummies of this desert realm, their silent presence beckons us forward, inviting us to explore the hidden truths buried beneath layers of time. The mystifying Nazca lines, messages written on the desert floor. Let us now direct our attention to a vast, dry expanse, a sprawling desert plain in southern Peru, where an extraordinary spectacle unfolds across the barren earth. The Nazca lines stretch out like a colossal, cryptic map carved into the land itself, visible only from the sky. These ancient geoglyphs have long captured the imagination, sparking questions about who created them, why they exist, and what secrets lie hidden within their intricate shapes. Spanning the Nazca Plateau, these immense figures are etched directly into the desert's surface, ranging from simple, straight lines to elaborate designs depicting animals, geometric shapes, and humanoid forms. Among the most famous is the enormous monkey figure, its twisting tail and curved limbs stretching more than 100 meters in length. Alongside it, the graceful hummingbird, the eerie spider, and the enigmatic whale add to the tapestry of shapes etched with breathtaking precision. An artistry so advanced it defies easy explanation, especially considering it was crafted over 2,000 years ago. Though first documented by the world in the 1920s, the Nazca lines were likely created by the Nazca civilization between 500 BCE and 500 CE. This culture was known for its innovations in irrigation, pottery, and textile art. Yet the purpose of these vast desert drawings remains an enigma. Covering an area of roughly 450 square kilometers, some lines extend for miles, with many of the figures revealing their true form only when viewed from high above, raising the tantalizing question: how could the Nazca people design such monumental images without the benefit of flight or modern aerial tools? Scholars have proposed several compelling theories grounded in Nazca culture and landscape. One of the most widely accepted ideas is that the lines served ritual or religious functions, perhaps as offerings to the gods. The animal and geometric figures may represent divine beings, sacred creatures, or celestial symbols. Water, a precious resource in this arid desert, played a crucial role in Nazca spirituality. Some researchers suggest the lines were connected to water ceremonies, designed to invoke rainfall or guide souls in their passage to the afterlife. Another popular theory links the Nazca lines to astronomy. Many of the geoglyphs appear aligned with the sun, moon, and stars, hinting that these drawings could have served as an ancient celestial calendar. Figures such as the spider and monkey have been associated with constellations, potentially marking important seasonal changes or agricultural cycles. This perspective suggests the lines help the Nazca track celestial movements, guiding their farming and ritual events. Yet, while these explanations offer valuable insights, they do not fully unravel the mystery. How did the Nazca create such vast and perfectly aligned lines with the technology of their time? Without aerial vantage points, how did they ensure these enormous figures appeared precisely as intended? This question has inspired more speculative and controversial ideas. Some propose that the Nazca lines were crafted not only for earthly purposes, but to communicate with higher powers, whether gods or even extraterrestrial visitors. The precision and celestial alignment have fueled the ancient astronaut theory, which suggests that advanced beings from beyond our planet might have shared cosmic knowledge with early human cultures. Could these geoglyphs be a form of interstellar communication? Messages inscribed on Earth, meant to be seen by watchers from the sky? And what motivated the Nazca to devote such monumental effort to create artworks only visible from above? Were the lines purely sacred symbols of devotion, or did they serve more practical roles, like marking travel routes across the desert or delineating sacred paths? When airplanes first flew over the region in the 1920s, revealing these incredible drawings to the modern world, questions also arose about how the Nazca themselves designed the figures. Did they pass down knowledge through oral traditions or secret ceremonies that guided their creation? The Nazca lines stand as a powerful testament to human creativity and mystery, a reminder of how much remains unknown about the ancient world. What messages were encoded in these enormous desert drawings? Were they merely religious icons? Or do they hold a more profound meaning? Perhaps an ancient language or cosmic code waiting to be deciphered? And might there be more hidden beneath the sands, patiently awaiting discovery? As desert winds sweep across the plateau, gradually erasing the footprints of time, the Nazca lines endure, a timeless riddle, their true purpose just beyond our grasp, quietly calling to us from a distant past. What secrets remain buried beneath the earth, etched in these vast, enigmatic forms, waiting for us to unlock their meaning? The Enigmatic Lady of Dai, a timeless window into ancient China. Our journey now takes us deep into the heart of ancient China, a civilization celebrated for its rich heritage, exquisite artistry, and profound spiritual traditions. In the remote Hubei province, a discovery made in 1971 stunned the world and forever changed our understanding of early Chinese culture. This was the tomb of Lady Dai, also known as Xinjui, an extraordinary find that offers a rare and vivid glimpse into a life lived more than 2 millennia ago. Lady Dai was the wife of a nobleman during the Western Han Dynasty around the 2nd century BCE. Her burial site at the Mawangdui complex was no ordinary tomb. It was a grand and sacred sanctuary crafted to honor her existence and to provide for her in the mysterious journey beyond life. When archaeologists first penetrated the sealed chambers, they encountered an astonishing sight: the body of Lady Dai herself, astonishingly preserved in near-perfect condition. Her skin remained supple, her dark hair intact, and her facial features remarkably lifelike, defying the ravages of time for over 2,000 years. The tomb was itself a marvel of ancient Chinese craftsmanship, filled with priceless artifacts, painted silk scrolls, intricately designed pottery, and gleaming bronze objects. Each piece shed light on the customs, beliefs, and daily life of her era. But it was Lady Dai's mummified remains that captured the world's fascination. Unlike the Egyptian mummies, which relied on resin and linen wrappings, Lady Dai's preservation employed an ingenious and sophisticated process. Her body was coated in multiple layers of lacquer, and her tomb was hermetically sealed, creating an airtight environment that preserved moisture and prevented decay. Even more remarkable was the treatment of her internal organs. Her heart, liver, and intestines were meticulously removed and preserved separately, an approach demonstrating an advanced understanding of anatomy and chemistry far ahead of its time. Yet, how did such a feat become possible? Mainstream scholars believe that Lady Dai's exceptional preservation was the result of the Han Dynasty's meticulous burial rituals combined with their knowledge of natural science. The Chinese's long-standing fascination with immortality and spiritual continuity is evident in the tomb's design, crafted to safeguard her soul and body for eternity. But the exact techniques used remain elusive. Unlike the standardized embalming methods of Egypt, the Chinese approach, especially the lacquer treatment, hints at a deeper, almost mysterious mastery of chemistry that scholars have yet to fully unravel. Was Lady Dai's preservation an isolated marvel or part of a lost tradition of mummification, now forgotten by time? Further intrigue arises from the silk scrolls discovered alongside her. These scrolls contain not only medical texts, but also detailed astrological charts and ritual illustrations. They suggest that Lady Dai's burial was not merely about preserving her physical form, but preparing her spiritually for a cosmic journey. The scrolls reflect beliefs tied to energy flow and balance, principles reminiscent of Qi and Taoist quests for longevity. Could these philosophies have influenced the preservation methods, blending science with spiritual wisdom? Equally captivating are reports of Lady Dai's remarkably intact clothing. Her silk garments retained their vibrant hues, as though she had been dressed only yesterday. This exceptional preservation of skin, organs, and textiles has led some to speculate that her tomb's preparation may have involved alchemy or secret knowledge, an ancient science intertwined with mystical practices. Was this preservation the product of natural materials like lacquer alone, or did it involve hidden, esoteric arts? As researchers continue to delve into the mysteries of her tomb and its treasures, questions abound. Was Lady Di's preservation purely a cultural achievement based on empirical knowledge, or does it hint at secret traditions passed down through select circles, perhaps a society devoted to conquering death? Some even wonder if these extraordinary mummification techniques connected to forces beyond the natural world. Could the Han Dynasty's methods have tapped into spiritual or supernatural powers long lost to history? Lady Di's tomb remains a source of awe and unanswered questions, a timeless legacy whispering secrets of life, death, and the quest for immortality. What ancient wisdom lies buried within her tomb, waiting for discovery? What other marvels are hidden beneath the soil of ancient China, biding their time until the world is ready to uncover them? As Lady Di rests in eternal silence, perfectly preserved against the ages, we are left to ponder the astonishing depth of ancient Chinese knowledge and the mysteries still concealed beneath the Earth's surface. Vimanas of ancient India, mystical sky, chariots, or lost technologies. Our exploration now leads us to the mystic realms of ancient India, where history intertwines with legend, and sacred texts whisper secrets of extraordinary flying machines known as Vimanas. These enigmatic chariots of the skies appear in some of the oldest scriptures on Earth, revealing a civilization steeped in spiritual wisdom, advanced knowledge, and celestial tales. Vimanas first emerged from the ancient Vedic texts, the sacred foundation of Hinduism, including the revered Rig Veda and the epic Mahabharata, composed thousands of years ago. These scriptures describe Vimanas as wondrous, celestial vehicles, capable of soaring swiftly through the heavens, traversing realms both earthly and divine. Piloted by gods, sages, and heroic kings, these flying chariots symbolize ultimate power and cosmic authority. Among the most famous stories is that of Arjuna, a legendary hero from the Mahabharata, who pilots a Vimana called the Vajra. This was no ordinary vehicle. It was a weaponized flying chariot, built for combat in the great cosmic war between rival clans. The detailed descriptions of Vimanas in these texts go far beyond myth. They include references to propulsion mechanisms, navigation controls, and even sophisticated weaponry. Fiery projectiles capable of devastating entire armies, eerily reminiscent of modern missiles or energy weapons. Such vivid details have ignited fascinating debates. Could these ancient accounts be echoes of real technological marvels, lost to the sands of time? Were Vimanas truly advanced flying machines developed by an early civilization, possessing knowledge far beyond what history has recorded? Mainstream historians tend to view Vimanas as symbolic, mythical representations of divine power and spiritual transcendence. According to this interpretation, Vimanas are metaphors for God's ability to rise above earthly bounds, similar to celestial chariots found in many ancient cultures worldwide. Yet, the highly technical nature of the Vimana descriptions challenges this view. How do we reconcile these intricate blueprints and mechanical details with the idea of purely symbolic myth? This gap between legend and archaeology has inspired numerous speculative theories. Some suggest that Vimanas were genuine aircraft built by an advanced civilization that flourished long before recorded history. These flying machines might have harnessed lost sources of energy or ancient sciences that modern technology is only now beginning to glimpse. More extraordinary claims propose that Vimanas were spacecraft used not just to cross Earth's skies, but to journey among the stars. Some fringe ideas even argue that these vehicles were of extraterrestrial origin, alien crafts piloted by visitors who shared their secrets with ancient Indian sages, seeding myths that endured through millennia. Despite the intrigue, no concrete archaeological evidence has emerged. No remnants of advanced flying machines or artifacts conclusively linked to Vimanas have been found at ancient sites. The mystery endures, locked within the poetic and technical verses of sacred texts. Could these stories be fragments of a forgotten epic, where humanity once wielded cosmic technology? Might there be hidden manuscripts or temple carvings yet undiscovered, containing blueprints for flight? Or are Vimanas simply profound symbols, poetic expressions of divine power soaring across the heavens? As we delve into these ancient tales, the question remains: were Vimanas the magical chariots of gods, or remnants of a lost civilization's technological legacy, waiting patiently for us to rediscover their truth? The story of the Vimanas continues to captivate and challenge our imagination, inviting us to look beyond the veil of myth and explore the profound mysteries of ancient India's skies.